I'm expecting that a lot more people will be coming in at night as they get home, but
I don't know, traffic was pretty horrendous today, so I'm hoping that there were a lot of voters out there and everybody was out voting, so let's hope so. In my precinct, I saw, when I was voting, I saw 3 or 4 new voters in there, so, you know, you kind of hope that the kids are out there, the new registered voters, and they're out there and they're taking this seriously and getting out there and at least voting on the casino question, because it does affect their future.
oh, that is going to be a huge one, and we'll be getting in numbers not only from the Revere voting, but from East Boston voting as well. We'll be picking up numbers as the night goes on from the votes that are coming in East Boston as well. So we'll be trying to pass those along too, because as you know, if Revere says yes and East Boston says no, then all bets are off, so to speak.
Exactly, exactly. You know, and the whole thing with the casino too, with the no operator, you know, and the vote, you know, is still going ahead. You know, has that made a difference? Has that actually made a difference? Would it have been a different turnout had the operator Caesars stayed in? And you know, that is going to play a part, I think. You know. And we'll see. Maybe not. Maybe not. A yes is a yes. Maybe. Who knows? You know. But that we'll have to look and see.
And as you could expect, when it comes down to the end of such a decision, people are always second guessing themselves, and there's a lot of questions come up and so forth, and it's really kind of interesting to watch, you know, the way it's gone. It'll, you know, of course, it started out very strong, I think, yes, and by some indications the yeses will hold, but as the race went on, it was becoming, you know, somewhat doubtful. And so, I mean, I think it's kind of up in the air at this point.
And, you know, and there was an article, we were talking about it, an article in the Globe yesterday on how it's, you know, pitted neighbor against neighbor in East Boston, and we've had our, you know, share of neighbor against neighbor here in Revere as well.
A couple of those as well, So moving away from the casino, though, and let's take a look at the at-large candidates in the at-large race, if you will. And we've got the current incumbents. We have Brian Arrigo, John Correggio, Jessica Giannino, Bob Haas, Tony Zambuto, and then the people who are challenging them and trying to get seats on that council are Walter Colville III, Stephen Morabito, who ran the last time and lost by the skin of his teeth.
Absolutely.
Actually won by 10 votes and then lost in the recount
by
3.
Right. We had him on here, I remember, and he accepted and he won, and then there was the recount.
Yeah.
So.
And then there's George Rotundo, who ran for mayor the last time around and gave up his city council seat and is now running for another opportunity to be on the city council. So that's the at-large race at this point, and we'll be talking to some of those people as the night goes on. And then, as we said, in the other race that is really wide open, and it's kind of interesting, you know, some of the things that you're hearing here, but the current incumbents, we have Michael Ferranti, Dan McGuire, Donna Wood Pruitt, Stacy Rizzo, Fred Sinella, Carol Ty, are all the incumbents, and running for seats in that are Rick Franny, who ran once before and did fairly well. I think he lost by 400 votes to Donna Wood Pruitt.
Right, we were just looking at that. I mean, he really, he did very well. You know, so that was a close race.
So Rick is back in the race again this year.
Right.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how he does this year. And then we have three newcomers, actually, Susan Gravelisi, Juan Yaramillo, and Patrick Keefe. So that's a wide open race going on there. And then when we look at the ward races, well, you know, it's interesting. We can go out on a limb.
Do you
say that 4 of those races, you know, we can
predict those. Yeah, we can.
You know, we have starting off, and we have Arthur Ganasso in his ward. And Steve Reardon in Ward 4, and we have Ira Novoselsky in Ward 2, and Charlie Patch in Ward 6.
And they all ran unopposed. So we know that is that's a guarantee that they will be coming back 2013.
So to start off for the night, at some point in time, I think we're going to have the mayor is going to come up and talk to us early on here.
Okay.
So we'll get some thoughts and input from him. But in the audience with us now is one of tonight's winners, and Arthur Ganasso. Arthur, you want to come up and join us?
Wait.
Pull that microphone right over. Deb?
Arthur?
Pleasure. My grandson Dominic.
Hi, Dominic.
Dominic, how are you?
Well, here we are.
Yeah, it was a tough race, but you won it, huh?
Well, you know what, Ed, I give the fact of that is that we work hard every day in servicing Ward 3, and the response time to people's requests is I do it on the same day or the day after. I make it as quick as possible, be as honest as possible with them. If I can do something, I'll do it. If I can't do it, I'll be honest with them and say, you know, it might take time, we might work it out. But first of all, before I get into that, I would just like to, first of all, thank my family, who's always been there with me, whether I have an opponent or not. And they come and they work hard and they believe in what I have to do. And that is self-rewarding to the extent that when you have your whole family behind you and your wife gives you the go to go for it and your family's right there pushing with it, that's so meaningful, you know, and it makes it easier for me to do the job. And then, of course, I have a great committee that for the last couple of years we've had no opponent. And they've taken a little hiatus on this, but we're going, they still serve the message of what we're trying to get across. They still talk to their neighbors and their friends and tell them, you know, if you have a problem with Ward 3, give your counselor a call. He'll help you. And that's been beneficial in my success. So I really am grateful to them, and I'm grateful to my family. And I might say also, I've been running for many years, as you all know. This has been the most civil campaign that I've ever seen. I see candidates and incumbents and candidates aspiring to be in the office and just working hand in hand, going out and doing their thing, and it's just rewarding collectively as a city. First of all, everybody's got to put in mind that we have a city of a diverse city at this point where we have to get along with our neighbors. It's so important. And without that factor, with divisions, and that's why I'm very soon going to make a motion to rid our community once and for all from these signs. It puts neighbor against neighbor. I have a right to think the way I think on an issue without having to express it on my lawn. And why antagonize a neighbor who I think greatly of and put that there? And if they're on the other side, on the opposite view. So I just think that the signs have to go. I know that we have a constitutional right to place them there, and it's been tested before, but I think we have to have a ladies and gentlemen agreement. No more signs, you know.
Well, you bring up an interesting thing, and at one point, there was a
We did.
legislation or a rule against signs.
Right.
So what happened
A
there?
couple of years back, a particular candidate who was powerful at the time decided, well, I'm going to flex my muscles and put all these signs about. And that was the deterioration of what we had as a good thing going for us, because everybody abided by it. They all knew the constitutional law was with signage, you could put it up. But everybody abided by that ladies and gentlemen agreement, which was so rewarding. I would suggest that in the next election that everybody sign this agreement and honor it.
Yep.
And just rid our community of all these signs.
No, I
That,
think it's
and you
a great
know,
idea.
I just can't see it, and particularly the yes/no question. Everybody has a right to express their view, but for God's sakes, do we need to put signs up? I mean, do we have to plaster them with these big signs? We don't really need that. Aesthetically, we sit up here on a weekly basis and talk about the aesthetic value of our community.
You're absolutely right.
And here we are, the electric
Absolutely.
capacity, tearing it down.
Especially with Facebook and Twitter.
Sign
Read
by
signs,
sign.
right?
I mean, there's so many electronic means of communicating with the constituents and with the
Yep.
possible people coming out to vote. There's a million avenues of campaigning that are at the disposal of everybody for short money. It doesn't cost a lot of money. But and you keep the inciting factor away from a community. I'm so proud that the city is looking so well. And whether it's yes or whether it's no at Suffolk Downs, Revere is going in the right direction. We are a financially solvent community. And we're thankful for the administration and the city councilors who's worked on that behalf. I mean, I have to give my colleagues all the credit in the world, too, because they work part and parcel with all of us to make sure that we have a solvent city. You know, we never, during the hard times that we experienced, and each and every town in the city has done the same over the past 8 years, Some cities and towns are on the borderline of going under, or asking for a 2.5 override. We never
Right.
even had that come close to us. I mean, we never had that as a factor. It was never a condition. We have X number of dollars in the surplus, and we're ready to go, and our bond rating is tremendous, so that gives us the ability to go out and borrow at a short interest rate. So I think that we've been prudent and solvent in some of our issues that were financially the way we conducted ourselves.
One question I had for you, Arthur, is that, you know, looking at, and we were talking earlier about the vote. If we looked at the 2011 elections, you know, we have 24,000 registered voters out of roughly 53,000 people. I'm assuming those are adults and children, if I'm not mistaken.
That's
so
correct.
how many of those are adults, I couldn't say for sure. But bottom line is about 40%
Right.
of the registered voters voted. And I'm trying to figure out, you know, and I don't know if you've had discussions with anybody, how do we get that number up? What do
Well,
we do
you
to
know,
get that number up?
I just don't understand what's going on with the mindset out in the world, because given the fact that people in other countries live and die for the right to vote, and it's been said and it's worn down to the fabric as, you know, what's going on in our country. People lose interest. And I just think, and if I can reflect, because I used to analyze all elections since the Eisenhower era, so that's how long I've been around.
There you go.
And I just think that people are so fed up with our federal government when the crisis came, whether they couldn't get enough votes together to at least put our country in a position that we don't have to make ourselves look foolish throughout the whole world. These things could be put aside. This pettiness has to stop. Democrat, Republican, it's got to stop. Tea Party group coming in. I mean, people have to, at some point, face the mirror and say, am I really doing this job because I'm a Democrat, or am I doing this because I'm an American? And am I doing this because I'm civic-minded, or I have an ego head? You know, so if they come to grips with that, I think our country's going to be a lot better. I mean, I just feel that the federal government, the senators and reps, congressmen, shame on them. I mean, shame on them for the manner in which they conducted business this past year and making us look so foolish to the outside world. I mean, it's just, there's enough room out there to make me foolish, but why this?
I remember earlier this year, we did one of the news articles, I think it had to do with the ethanol trains and how the local government, along with the state delegation and the federal delegation came together to get something passed to kind of basically force Global to say, enough, we're not going to do this. And I'm saying, imagine if we could export that to Washington, how great things would be, yeah?
Well, I just think that the people mindset worked in that particular fashion, and because it was told by everybody that, you know, this is a federal situation and you can't change it. I guess we could.
Yes, we
Yes,
can.
we can.
And I just think that if there's enough people out there conscious enough to take into consideration that their power of vote is very important, and express their views in a fashion that people who are in leadership capability have the right to change things, you know, for the good.
Yeah. And coming back to the local vote again, and one of the questions I've always had in my mind is that, you know, we've gone through a huge demographic change within this city. And if I look at, you know, the mix, you know, there's a large Latino population, a large Middle Eastern population, and one of the questions is really how invested, how involved are they in the local politics, and does that have some bearing on the low turnout in the voters because maybe they're not participating?
Well, I just got
What's
reelected.
your
I might get
experience
impeached
there?
after my thoughts of today is the last national election, I saw quite a few people of diversity coming to the polls. I was at the polls today and I didn't see that. And I just feel that I'd be very hurt to think that they're just going out for a particular person because of that certain diversity. I would just think that people come out to vote for people who are going to do a good job for their government. And I'm just kind of disheartened by the fact that I didn't see that today. And that's going to show in the numbers. That's going to show, yeah, and there are a certain percentage of people, you have to take that into consideration, that only vote on a national level, which I think is insane in itself.
Right.
But,
Right.
yeah, I'm kind of disappointed in that. You know?
Well, it'll be interesting, and that was the reason why I asked the question is because it probably, if that is in fact the case, you know, it says that we, as a city, our government, need to kind of look at what do we need to do to get those people invested in participating, because it's the key
Truthfully?
to our
Well,
future.
and it's like he said, they did vote 2 years ago. They
did-
certainly
They
did,
knew
and they
enough to
came
come
out
out to
numbers.
vote 2 years ago.
Absolutely.
And the national If the national government and the national agencies can bring these people out to vote, then why? And I think this city and I think Danny Rizzo did an unbelievable job in first accepting that challenge and bringing it to the table. I mean, he gave them every opportunity in the world to be out here and to participate in today's election.
Yep.
It didn't happen. I don't think it happened.
Yep. And that's what I said, you know, it doesn't look like, and we'll
Right.
find out
We'll
later
find
on
out,
tonight.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
If not, then, you know,
You get
what do we
important
do?
issues facing us, and I think that people, I think there's always, you get the best results when the numbers come out, when you get the greatest percentage of the but of course, you want them to come out with an educated decision. You don't want them just to come out for a crazy reason because of color or race or creed or whatever it is. You don't want that.
Absolutely.
And I just think that, I'm very upbeat for the city of Revere. I think that the people of Revere should feel proud of their government today, and I think that they can rest assured that, you know, all these new schools, new fire and police station, new fire apparatus, new police cars, DPW is going to get some help. You know, and if in fact the casino does come into being, we're going to have the finances to do some of these things that we'll never would have had the opportunity to do. And I just think that we'll see after tonight. I got early predictions, I guess, from East Boston that the yeses were outdoing the nos by maybe 5 to 8 percentage points. But that's early, and you know, that's on the exit polls.
Well, there you go. That's
The exit-
our first,
Well, you
our first report.
exit polls are exit polls. I
Yeah.
believe in
Take it from where you get it.
I believe in Wednesday morning's tabulations.
All right,
and the vote.
how about giving us, what do you think about Counselor at Large? What do you think's going to
Well, I
happen?
think it's a very interesting race. We got 5 very good sitting councilors that I serve with, and you know, do I think something could happen? I possibly do, but I could never venture to guess who it would be.
Okay,
I think there's more of a challenge in the
School
school committee
committee.
race that those candidates work their tails off. They work very, very hard. Not to suggest that the council at large didn't, they did too. And I just think that I'm very interested to see how that school committee vote turns out. And, you know, obviously I'm very interested in the council at large because I sit with those individuals and ladies and gentlemen that I serve with. Again, I have nothing, and I already gave them praise earlier because they were part and parcel to what the good things we've been doing these last few years. And so I myself didn't do it alone, but we did do it with the former mayor, Tom Ambrosino, who was a great mayor. We're now continuing on with a good mayor, great mayor, with the future of Dan Rizzo. So I think he's going to have some good people to work with, and I think I'm very happy to get going with them. And, you know, I just think there's an opportunity out there for us to grasp additional money. Let's grab it. Let's do it. You know, because we're always strapping up here. I wish we could afford this. I wish we could. Well, the wish is over. Let Santa Claus come.
right in time for the holidays.
Well, who knows? You never know, Deb. You know, these things happen.
No, you're very upbeat, Arthur, and I think it's great, and I think it's wonderful that your family's out here.
Oh,
They're
they-
supporting you. You have a great, great family, and
I
I
have
think
a
it's
son
awesome.
that drives me crazy.
That's
Go out
okay.
here. We got to go out here. Arthur, I don't have an opponent today, but we have to do this. We have to do that.
I think
then
it's
he
great.
brings my other 2 in that I didn't want them to come out in the cold, and they were out there too. So without an opponent, we were still out there visible. We were
Right,
still out there
right.
doing our thing as if we had an opponent.
Yeah.
But we didn't stay as long at the polls.
And you're here. You're
And I'm
here.
here.
And you're here, and you're the first one here, and
Well,
I think it's great.
I love to come here because election night is like Christmas Eve for me.
I-
I absolutely love election night. I told you, when Eisenhower was running, I was sitting there in those days, sitting in front of that tube, and we were getting it. You know, it was just a great experience, you know?
Yeah.
And,
It's in your blood.
And
That's
then
great.
JFK came along, and then my love was for whatever he wanted. JFK was I hate to say this to my wife, but my first love. I really
you
loved
go.
JFK. I named my son Arthur Kennedy Guanasso
Really?
after my dear friend, the president. So I really enjoy politics, and I enjoy serving people. And when I accomplish something, I get a big kick out of it. It's gratifying to me,
Well,
you know.
that's
As recently as
that's
these
a
bus
true
stops that
public
were
servant.
placed all over. I'm working on, I already got 1 change. I got 3 more in the process of being changed for the betterment of my residents, the residents who live in Ward 3.
And that's
So,
a true
little
public
things like
servant.
that, I love.
That's
That's the little things that I enjoy.
That's
and,
great.
You know, I enjoy doing the job, you know. And I
That's
enjoy
great.
working with my colleagues and the camaraderie.
yes.
I really have a good time.
That's great.
Yeah, and speaking, working with your colleagues, Richard Penta, during the Ward 1 debate, I think what brought up the fact that, things are much more positive on the city council than they have been in a long, long time. And he talked about, trying to keep more of a positive outlook on things and to kind of reduce some of the negativity, and you spoke to that.
I serve with 13 different city councils, and I'll tell you, the last group I've worked with are second to none. I mean, we work out, we differ on a situation, we're out having dinner right afterwards, You can offer your opinion, just like I say with the signs, offer your opinion, but you don't have to place it all over the world, and let it end at some point. Don't carry this thing on, And I enjoy their friendship, and I hope they enjoy mine, because I really do. I really enjoy it, and I love politics.
Great. That's...
All right.
And as the saying goes, if you can't have fun doing what you're doing, don't do it.
The day I don't enjoy it, it's the day I resign.
There it is.
I mean,
there it is.
The day that becomes a
It's
burden
very
to me.
apparent.
I do not wake up in the morning saying, oh, I hope no one calls me today. I mean, I enjoy the challenge. Call me. Whatever, and I enjoy it. Some people might be happy, some people might, but I tell the truth. If I can do it, I do it.
There you go. You do
That's
the best
great.
you
Can't
can.
ask for
do
any
the
more
best
than
you
that.
can. No, that's awesome.
Oh.
Well,
Oh, wait a minute.
We've
congratulations.
got another winner walking.
And we have another one.
What'd you say, you had another winner? Another winner is walking through the door here. My good friend, Steve Redden.
Arthur, thank
All
you
right, well,
very,
Arthur,
very
thank you
much.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations
Thanks,
once
Ed.
again.
Enjoy your trip.
Thank you, I will.
Okay.
God bless.
All right, take care.
And we have the City Council Ward 4 winner, Steve Reardon.
I assume I am. I don't know yet, but I'm assuming.
We're going on a limb.
Thank you very much.
Unless everybody decides to stay home and then cast no ballots,
Thank you very
then you
much.
win by default, do you? What happens then? You're the legal guy.
No, I think I won by default. Well, there's write-ins.
Really,
I
Ed?
suppose there's write-ins.
Yeah.
And I understand write-ins are playing somewhat of a part in this, the election result. But not in Ward 4, hopefully.
Yeah.
I just, first of all, let me say this, and I'll tell you a quick story. When I first ran, I remember having a fundraiser down at the Legion, and my beautiful, beautiful wife was there, who done so much for me, and I forgot to thank her.
Okay, so you do that right now.
And I'm going to thank my beautiful, beautiful wife, Darrell, for
Right
everything
now.
she does for me, because it's incomprehensible. It's something that I absolutely appreciate, and let me thank her first and foremost. Let me also thank the rest of my family, who are obviously part of my candidacy and support me. And I want to thank, most importantly, the voters of Ward 4 for their confidence in me, such as it may be expressed this evening, but most importantly that they, well, obviously no one ran against me. And I know that means a lot of things to different people, but to me it means that I'm at least making my best effort to do the best thing for Ward 4. And I really am, I really do. I'm the Ward 4 councilor. I take that job very seriously. I have been out in storms, clearing roads, taking trees off the streets, and dealing with down wires and down trees. I respond to as many constituent issues as I possibly can. Plus, I'd like to think that I represent the ward on the city council favorably as well. And I do my best. I really, really do. And I'm not perfect. And I the first one to admit that. My lines are open, my telephone line is open, and I try to respond to everybody. And I'd like to think that everybody thinks I'm doing a good job. I'm trying my best. That's the best I can tell you. And honest to God, I think we're moving forward. And obviously I have some issue. We have the casino vote tonight. And,
Yes, yeah.
We're going to go forward one way or the other. So.
Well, and I guess that's been a kind of a question tonight. What happens, one way or the other? What's going to happen? If it doesn't pass, what happens?
Well, and I've expressed this to some of my brethren. I'm concerned about two things. First of all, if it doesn't pass in either East Boston or Revere, or if it does pass in Revere and not East Boston, and if the Everett proposal doesn't get approved and the Milford proposal doesn't get approved, both of which are issues where do we stand then? There is a District A in the casino legislation that comprises eastern Massachusetts. And eastern Massachusetts now has 3 applicants, and there's no determination yet as to which or the other of them are actually going to pass muster with the Gaming Commission and/or the electorate. At this point, I wonder what will happen if there's a vacuum. And I know that, and I'm suggesting this in an offhand manner, but we have a huge area down at Wonderland Park. If Revere votes for this casino, I'm actually wondering what happens with the legislation. How does it work out if East Boston, for instance, doesn't go and Revere does? And I'm very, very, very positive about the casino. I know it's going to bring problems. I honestly do. But at the same time, and I've said this before, we have a gaming industry in Massachusetts that is long-standing. 75 years or better, Suffolk Downs has been a gaming industry. 50 or 60 years ago, it was not unusual to see 25,000 people at Suffolk Downs on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon. We had no problems then. The problems that we had, we were able to deal with. We're probably going to see less people on a daily basis there. I don't understand why people think that we can't deal with that, because we can. Yeah. It's an industry. We have no other industry in Revere. We have nothing we can count on as an industry, as a signatory industry in Revere, other than Suffolk Downs. And I think that we need to preserve this. I think we need to preserve the gaming industry, and I think this is a step forward. Hopefully as it's planned, it'll go forward, but I'd like to see us pursue this even if it doesn't.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So we were talking, Arthur, earlier today about the vote, and it's an issue that just keeps coming up in my mind in terms of the turnout, and just asking for opinions and thoughts about how do you drive up the rate of voters? What can we do to get more people voting?
My understanding is, from what I've seen today, that this is probably the most positive election that we've had in a long time. I was at the Lighthouse with Ward 4 Precinct 3 and this afternoon, and we had about a third of the registered voters, I believe, had voted at about 1 o'clock. That was more than I expected, to be perfectly honest with you. And maybe I'm very, very pessimistic, but it was better than expected. What do we do to get people to come out and vote? I believe we have to give people a stake in the community. I believe that we right now have too many absent landlords. We have too many people who are here without a stake in the community. We need to find a way to make people or give people a stake in the community. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. The administration, I believe, is attempting to do that. Danny, I give him credit for the fact that he's been inclusive and bringing people into our community, who come into our community, an opportunity to have some say, whether they vote or otherwise. It's important that the people who live here are stakeholders, and we need to drive up the rate of stakeholders in this community.
That's a great term, and that's what I was trying to put my finger on when I was talking with Arthur about, looking at the immigrant community. We've got the Latinos, we've got the Middle Eastern community, and there's, the Cambodian community and so forth, and, trying to get those people invested or participating in government and driving up that.
Once they have a stake, they will get involved. And I think other communities have indicated that. Chelsea is a perfect example, but they need to have a stake. They need to have children that rely on us. They need to have real estate interest, quite honestly, in this city. And I think the ways if we can find ways to do that, we have made a great step forward in getting those stakeholders or the people involved in the city in stakeholders. And once they appreciate that they are vital members of the community, I believe you'll see them vote. I believe you'll see them register to vote. And I believe you see them come out to vote and offer candidates as well. And I think that's important.
And
Yeah.
I think that will do a lot to drive that up.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely will.
So speaking about the races and all, what are your thoughts on counselor at large and school committee races?
Think we'll see an upset?
I honestly have no thoughts on that. I have many, many friends. I have actually everybody on the city council is my personal friend. While I may have a political difference with some of them, all of them have been an honor and a pleasure to serve with, whether they continue to serve or otherwise. And I honestly state that there. I can honestly say that every single city councilor who is here, who is presently a city councilor, running for election, or otherwise for that matter, are my friends. If there are new city councilors that I'm not as familiar with, I certainly hope to make their acquaintance, and I certainly hope to move forward with them as well. Again, I have no opinion whatsoever. It's important to me that they've participated in this democratic process. It's really, really vital to me that people have the guts, the courage to come out and put their reputation on the line. And honestly, when you run for election, you have psychologically invested yourself in a big, big thing. Because if you're rejected and you don't make it, and I've done that before, it hurts. It hurts to know that people haven't appreciated you or pulled you into their bosom, so to speak, and voted for you. But it takes courage to do that. It takes courage to do that, and it takes a commitment to the community to do that. And I appreciate everybody who either has run, or has been elected. And I hope to continue to call them my friends, whether they're elected or not.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because when you put yourself out there for candidacy, I mean, you are putting yourself out, and you're just hanging yourself on the line, so to speak.
But it has been a well-run race, and I think that's what Arthur was saying. It wasn't petty in any way. I mean, the at-large candidates and the school committee candidates, they both did the Q&A. They handled themselves extremely well, and I think it was a well-run race. Everybody,
Yep.
Well, it was a negative. That's really, really important.
and that's positive.
As far as I'm concerned, if you don't have enough confidence in yourself to put your record forward, your credentials forward, without denigrating the other guy, then you're not as credible a candidate as you would otherwise be. And I think that is by and large, as you suggested, been the case here. The candidates have definitely acquitted themselves well in this race. And I look forward. I'm especially gratified that there are younger people involved in this candidacy. I saw Juan Jaramillo out there today working, still hard. I guess he's not even old enough to drink, quite honestly.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's great to see a young man like that coming into this and putting himself on the line and saying, vote for me, I've got something to offer. And I really do appreciate that. We need more of that. I encourage it. I ran unopposed this time, and I was just speaking to some of my folks down at Companions tonight, and I said, as much as I know that I didn't have to work as hard as I would have otherwise, as much as I know I didn't have to go out and do a lot of things that some of the other candidates do, I kind of miss the challenge. I kind of miss the idea that people are not, to the extent that they're not, interested in running for public office, concerned about the issues that confront us. Because honestly, in one of my experiences up here with my colleagues up here has been that everybody's got something to contribute. And it's well known that when you have contributors who have a strong sense of community, a strong sense of what's best for the community, you come out with better decisions, and we need more of that.
Well
great.
said.
Steve, I thank you very much for coming by.
It's been my pleasure.
It's looking
Thank
forward
you.
to another
Thank
2
you so
years
much.
with you up
Okay.
at the city council.
Mwah.
And I look forward to it, too.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
Enjoy
Okay.
yourself. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right, there we have it. It is about 8:35. We're still waiting for some results to come in. I would imagine they're probably frantically counting up all the the ballots at the polling places and delivering them downstairs. I've heard some activity downstairs.
I have too.
You know, so I would
Sounds like a
assume that
little
at some
riot
point in
going
time,
on
we're going to start to get some numbers, you know?
I would hope so. So we can finally start talking about what's going on down there. We had talked about,
Well, it was interesting, you know, in listening to Steve, you know, talk about, you know, the positiveness of the at-large and the school committee races. We both know because we did the debates for the
Right.
ward. So the two contended wards, you know, one was fairly contentious and the other one a little contentious, but not as much.
Right.
You know, so if there's any sort of negativity or battling going on, it's probably in those two areas.
Yeah, you're right. It would be in the Ward 1 if you, but, you know, even then, it wasn't, it could have been worse.
It could have been worse, yes, exactly. But you could tell that, you know, there was definite,
yeah.
and it wasn't just different opinions. It was, you know,
A little bit of attacks.
Yeah. There was some tick and tack, whatever. I'm trying to look for the word. Contentiousness, I guess, would be it. You know.
Okay.
And obvious in the Ward 5 one with Al Terminello and John Powers, they definitely had difference of opinions in
Right.
terms of their positions.
Right.
I think it was very gentlemanly there. I mean, but you can tell that you
Right,
have
and they came
two
right out and said
different
it.
candidates
Right.
there.
Exactly, two different candidates, and again, that's kind of what, you know, Stephen just hit on. You know, when you run for a ward council, you are giving people a chance, and there is your two different candidates,
Yep.
and now you get to go out and vote for which one you prefer,
Yep.
and who speaks for you. And I think that that's a good point he just made. It's important that you run, you
Yeah.
know, and that you sometimes run opposed.
Yeah. It was
know?
interesting. I mean, you know, I think, you know, what I was trying to get him to say, Steve, is, you know, does he think there's going to be any changes on the school committee or the counter at large? I guess if I were to reposition
Right.
the question, I might ask it
Right.
that way again.
Right.
Obviously, he didn't want to make any predictions. As
No,
to
he-
who would,
he
and
did not,
I don't blame
no.
him. I wouldn't want to do that either.
Not amongst his friends, no. No, it's really going to be something to see. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with Stephen Morabito. That is what you know, keeps catching my eye. That 3-vote last time, I think that's, you know, that's where we're going to be.
Well, the other thing we talked about too, you know, earlier tonight, and I'm not sure we brought it up since we've been on the air, is when you look at George Rotundo, you know, he ran for mayor. And in the last election, he garnered about almost 4,000 votes. And if you look at that and you post that 4,000 votes in the at-large, that would be enough to put him into one of those at-large seats.
Right, and you know, you're right. You're exactly right. It was he got 41% of the mayor's, you know.
Yeah, but
that
you know,
vote.
so would
But,
everybody
yeah, well, I
that
was-
voted for him as mayor vote for him as a counselor at large? That is the question.
And again,
and we'll
you know,
see.
where has he been? Was he, you know, was he campaigning a lot? Was he out there? Was he out there enough? You know, we know his name.
Yeah, and then again, the other candidate out there, you know, of the 3 or 4 that are running, you know, Steve Morabito. You know, Steve, as we said earlier, lost by, or originally won by 10 votes. Then there was a recount, and during the recount, he ended up losing by 3 votes. So he came very, very close to knocking John Correggio off. So does he still have that strength?
And let's talk about Colville. You know,
Walter Colville,
you know,
right.
he's brand new. We don't know what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
We don't have numbers on him. He
And,
did
you
very
know,
well on the
He did a very
questionnaire.
good accounting of himself, right,
Right.
exactly.
You know, he's served in the Army and National Guard. He studied criminal law. He's a corrections officer. You know, he has a very good background. You know, we'll have to see what happens with that. So,
Yeah.
you know, the 3 good challengers in that race.
Yeah, and you know, it's like, I mean, you have a pretty good sense of who you think is going to make it, particularly in terms of some of the incumbents that you think have their strong camps, and there will be those who voted for them in the past will come out and vote for them again. But you just never know, you know, it's like trying to, as they say in football games, any given Sunday. You
Right,
know?
and then you have to see their position on the ballot as well. And that's the other thing, you know, you know, again, do they go down and vote for the first 5? I mean, it's that,
Yeah.
you know, it's that kind of thing as well.
Yeah, you know, it is an interesting thing, and I guess I should probably do some sort of course on elections, trying to understand, you know, the psychology of voting and how you plan, because there's a lot, when you think about it, you know, thought goes into, you know, where you are positioned on the ballot, you know, how the people vote, you know, and so forth, and it's really kind of interesting, the science, I guess, of planning an election, you know?
I would definitely say there's a science to it.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about the school committee. I mean, here we go. Now, if you know, I think if you ask, you know, 100% of the people, 100% would say that they think there might be one upset at least.
Yeah.
So, if not a few.
Yeah, I think just about everybody we've talked to so far says they think there are going to be some changes on the school committee.
Yes, yes.
It's just a question of how many and who.
And I think it's more because of the strong campaigns, you know, that they've run. You know, Patrick Keith has run a very strong campaign. Rick Frenny has run a very strong campaign. Susan Gravellisi, you know, and he was just mentioning Juan Caramello. You know, again, he what a great kid.
And
you know,
you look at the success of the school system here in Revere. I mean, you know, the awards that the school systems get, the great job that Dr. Dakin's been doing, and all the teachers and so forth, and the school committee has a part in all of that.
Absolutely.
And you know, so by all accounts, these guys have done a very good accounting of themselves, you know, in their terms. Many of them have been there for quite a while, you know,
exactly.
for years.
Exactly.
And so now you've got all of these new people that are coming in to run, and so what is the will of the people, if you will, in the sense, are they looking for a change? Not to say that anybody's been doing a bad job, but do they just want to see a change?
Not at all,
you
because
know?
you're absolutely right.
And that's the big question tonight, I really think.
That's exactly right. Do we want to keep the, you know, the school committee as is, or do you want the new people in there?
You
know,
wanna see a change.
and again, do you want to see a change? And that's the big question that I think, you know, the challengers are asking.
And I think we saw that the last time when the at-large candidates. I mean, when Brian Arrigo came in, Jessica Giannino came in,
Right.
Steve Morabito for a short term.
Yeah.
I mean, there were three new
Right.
candidates that all, by all natures, got in. Unfortunately,
Right.
Morabito lost in the recount. But, you know, so people wanted to see something of a change at
Exactly.
that point. And so I think, in my mind, there's going to be a little bit of that we'll see tonight.
Yeah, and obviously we don't have term limits, so
No.
so it's the will of the people.
Yeah.
you
Arthur
know.
was very emphatic about no
Yeah,
term
I
limits.
did bring that up, and they didn't want me to discuss that, but
Yeah. And we're waiting for the mayor to come by. He's probably out trying to get some last-minute votes. Well, I'm hoping, you know, well, you can't get any more votes now at this point, a quarter of
no,
nine.
and I'm wondering if he's just standing by to see if they're getting any
some of the results.
results for the Suffolk vote.
Because we're not getting any yet.
No, we've had nothing yet. So, and we have our person down there waiting for the results.
Yes, yeah. I could hear the voices, and I heard somebody speaking fairly loud down there, like he was trying to speak to the crowd. So it's interesting. Maybe we'll find out. Interesting that also looking at the last election for Ward 5, you know, John Powers, there was a gentleman, last name was Sabio, and I'm sorry, I don't remember his first name, was a contender. Again, running against John Powers in the last election. So this is two times, and of course Richard Penta again with Ward 1. You know, so those two guys seem to continually run up against people who are running against them every time the elections come up. Ira, you know, pretty much I think he was unopposed probably the last time. Arthur, I don't know if he had it. You know what? Looking at
No,
he
absolutely
did
not. He did not.
You're right. I'm looking back
he
at
did
the
not. No, he ran opposed as well. Now, Greg Lysedra did run against Richard Penta and got 36% of the vote.
Last
so
time.
we're curious to see if this has improved. What has, you know, what percent of the vote he gets this time. So we'll see. It's the same two contenders. So
and with Sabio, when he ran against John Powers, he got like 27%, almost 28% of the vote.
So we'll see how Al Terminello, who is a well-known name in the city.
You're right.
Al, you know, Al has run for councilor at large. He's run for, you know, so the name is familiar. So
we were just talking about the mayor, and here he is.
So we'll have the mayor, Dan Rizzo, coming on with us right now. We'll get some of his predictions.
Good evening.
Hey, good evening. How are you?
Welcome.
Hi,
Hey, Debbie,
Dan.
how are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
I guess I'm gonna ask you, being out on the street, what's the word on the street? Is it a good evening so far?
Well, in Revere, it's a good evening.
Yeah.
Revere, I'm very, very proud of our residents who came out overwhelmingly to support this project at Suffolk Downs, who has been a terrific neighbor to the city of Revere, as you both know, for close to 80 years. Not so good news out of East Boston. And you know, again, to our neighbors here and our residents of Revere who support jobs, who support economic development, who support local investment, I congratulate them and I thank them for their vote. My plan is, well, I have spoken with Suffolk Downs to see about the potential for putting the project in Revere only, and I plan on appealing to the Gaming Commission for the ability to do so. So, you know, this is a minor setback, to say the least, but I'm not going to let all the time and effort that my administration put into this project, as well as the voters who turned out overwhelmingly today to support it, just go down the tubes without a fight. So,
We're going to interrupt you for a minute because it sounds like, and I think
Yeah,
you're going to
I
ask the
just
same
need
question.
clarification.
It sounds like you have knowledge of what percentage turned out, and you have some knowledge of
So the
a
finals,
percentage.
if you will.
yes,
So the final is that East Boston, it went down,
yes,
and Revere, it was approved.
yes.
It was a yes vote in Revere and a no vote in East Boston.
Do you have any sense for what would the percentage in East Boston?
I believe that, you know, I think it could be as high as a 10% deficit. So,
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot different than we had originally anticipated. You know, that's what, you know, when I say, you know, the misinformation and bad information, and maybe in some cases a lack of information, can have an adverse effect on an election like this. You know, to turn away, you know, millions of dollars of local recurring revenues, to turn away the opportunity to put 4,000 people to work, to turn away local investment. And I know in our community, you know, we voted for $7.5 million of local investment. I think East Boston had a commitment of $5 million, but nonetheless, that's $5 million into their local economy. You know, again, this is what America is all about.
Yeah.
The voters spoke. Sad to say that Suffolk Downs, the track as it currently sits today, I don't know that it will be able to continue on as a horse track, because as you know, part of it is in East Boston. So there's a lot to consider here. It's a very confusing night for me.
Well, for sure.
But nonetheless, you know, I can't say it enough. Our residents here in the city of Revere, I'm just so proud of them coming out really in droves. I haven't seen an election like this. I'm not sure when I ran for mayor 2 years ago that they came out in these numbers. So I'm very, very proud of their.
We were just
Well,
talking
being
about
said,
that.
because we were wondering about, you know, what the turnout would be tonight. Did you get any sense for how many people voted?
What
actually?
percentage?
The overall percentage of voters was, it was probably in the mid-40s, maybe. You know, I mean, like, don't quote me on that. I'm not sure.
No,
but
we're
it
still
was-
waiting.
We'll get the numbers later on.
Yeah,
But we
yeah.
were kind of curious because we were talking about the number of people who voted the last time around and what it might be tonight.
So let me just ask you again, what would be your proposal now? What would be where would you go with this now? East Boston has said no, Revere has said yes. Where would you go with this?
Well, I mean, there's certainly options. One would be to put it on the Revere side. We own 51 acres over there, or the Suffolk Downs owns 51 acres that lies in the city of Revere. So we do have that option there. And they also own other property in Revere. So, you know, there could be some other options there. I don't really know right now. You know, I think this is something that we're going to have to talk about and see where it all goes, because you're talking about $1 billion of investment. This is major, and I know that Suffolk Downs has kept that track alive, losing $1 million a month for the last 7 years in anticipation of going forward with the resort-style casino at Suffolk Downs. So clearly, they're not just going to want to back away from this, without at least exploring other options. And it's clear that the residents of our community voted for jobs, they voted for economic growth, they voted for local investment, they voted for recurring revenues that can control their property taxes, if not reduce their property taxes, help control their water rates, put more police on the street, invest in after-school programs, a new youth center, other capital projects that, we have to put people on a list just to get a tree taken down. This would give us the financial wherewithal to not have to do that, and our residents saw that. So to all the Revere residents who took time out to vote today, really, I can't say thank you enough. They did a terrific job, and it's a proud day for me as mayor to see that kind of support, to see our residents be able to grasp the magnitude of this project and embrace it the way they did.
I guess to use a term that's been used in the past, it's bittersweet.
It is bittersweet. It
Yeah.
is bittersweet. I mean, obviously, clearly, I just thought that the overall project, the way they had it laid out with the horse track to stay in business and running with actually bigger purses and a better level of racing, 2,200 trees were going to be planted there to watch to be able to make it a more Saratoga-like experience for people that were able to go. And spend some time down at the new facility. It was a terrific project in my mind. It's disappointing, particularly when you have to put the fate of your own community in the hands of another.
Yeah.
This was a very unique type of vote. I mean, that's probably one of the only votes I can think of, other than if you're talking about a statewide vote, on something where you have to rely on another city to approve a project that's going to sit within your boundaries.
Right.
So, but nonetheless, as I say, as bittersweet as it may be, my mind is always going to be focused, forever, really, on the fact that our residents were so engaged and trusted myself and the administration that we were giving them, and we gave them information. Probably to the point they didn't want to hear us anymore, but we tried to be as forthcoming and as informative as we possibly could, and I think that really, at the end of the day, was the best way to go, because voters were able to make an informed decision. I don't think anybody out there could say, I didn't have the information.
No, I don't think
So,
anybody
Yeah,
could
yeah,
say that
and
either.
that's true.
But the bottom line is, it isn't over.
It's not over.
And I was just going to say, because we had a conversation in the past about, well, if it goes favorably, you'll be able to kind of sit back, take a sigh of relief a little bit, and then Chip and the folks at Suffolk Downs will have a lot of work to do to get the application ready. Now, tomorrow, I would imagine you're going to be right in the middle of probably meetings with Suffolk Downs and people to say, where do we go from here?
In
Tonight
about
even.
15 minutes, I will be in meetings
There you
with
go.
Suffolk Downs. So, actually, I'm leaving here and I'm heading over there, and the fight is, listen, we won the fight here in Revere. Revere voters overwhelmingly supported this project. It is a letdown, to know that East Boston did not come out and support it, but I am not going to let down our residents.
Yep.
Who came out today, as I say, in droves to support this project. I'm not going to let them down by just saying, well, let's chalk this one up in the loss column. I'm not going to do it.
So to try and understand, again, the next step forward, you're going to meet with Suffolk Downs and go forth and try and propose some sort of project that's going to be based in Revere, solely within Revere.
Yes.
That's going to require going to the Gaming Commission to get them to relax some of their timetables and schedules, and what are
Yes.
those possibilities? I mean, is it slim to none, or?
Well, presumably, my goal and my hope would be that, yes, the timetable, obviously, of having to submit and go into phase 2 as of, December 31st. I'm not sure. I don't think that would be doable. But again, this is so preliminary.
Yeah.
As much as we've speculated what happens if Revere votes for it, what happens if East Boston doesn't, what happens if East Boston votes for it and Revere doesn't, we've had these conversations but we've never had serious conversations about it because our goal and our hopes have always been to win in both communities. So you don't, I mean, as much as you always want to have a backup plan, we were so focused on winning in both communities that we never really had these conversations. Now it's reality. You know, the rubber has met the road. We understand the situation that we're in, and we're going to have to deal with the hands that we've been dealt. So, you know, right now, as I say, you know, my dealings with Suffolk Downs, the management, ownership, has been an incredibly positive experience, and I still believe they're going to be an incredibly positive business entity here in the city of Revere. You know, I have every belief in the world that they're going to put out a first-class product, and clearly our residents felt that way. And now I'm going to appeal to the Gaming Commission and work with Suffolk Downs to see that you know, we can get a second bite at the apple, so to speak.
Yeah.
So.
And I know you've got to run off, but in previous we were talking with Steve Reardon just about what if. And Steve, you know, kind of tossed out the idea that it's possible that maybe it could be located at Wonderland. Is that one of the ideas that would be on the table?
Certainly, everything's open to discussion right now.
Okay.
There's an awful lot of things to consider and discuss, but I do know that you know, we don't want to walk away from this after all this time and effort. You and I have been talking about this issue. It seems as though for longer than probably either one of us wants to think about. So, you know, I guess what I just say is stay tuned, and we'll see what happens. There's people out there that I'm sure that lawyers on both sides for the city of Revere and for Suffolk Downs are going to be putting their brains together. And I know our lawyers were on hand today, and in fact, I believe they're over at Suffolk Downs now. So these conversations are probably even preempting my arrival. So let's see where it goes. But thanks so much for having me on.
My pleasure.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you for this.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Good luck with everything.
Thanks so much. Appreciate
No worries.
it.
Well, you've heard it first here, live from
Yeah.
Mayor Rizzo.
Breaking news, as they say.
That's
you know,
right.
so it's passed in Revere, and we'll be getting those numbers at some point in time, so we'll be able to post those to you.
Right.
But obviously, it did not pass in East Boston, so it's not over yet.
It's not over yet.
Yeah. Hopefully, you know, you know, I guess, you know, I keep the analogy, the thought of the Patriots and Tom Brady in that game a couple of weeks ago with New Orleans Saints and that miracle pass with seconds left to go.
Seconds left.
You know, we're kind of looking at a couple of those situations right now in terms of trying to make something happen.
I guess I'm a little in shock right now. But so while I'm in shock, let's get Ira Novoselsky in. Who did win Ward 2, ran unopposed, but let's get Ira in.
He was one of those guys we were able to call earlier in the night.
Exactly.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Hi,
Thank
Ira.
you, Steve. Appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, Ira, you've heard the news now, too.
Oh, I'm so disappointed.
Yeah.
You know, but our folks from Revere came through.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, East Boston didn't do it, but, you know, we're going to look at all our avenues and see which way we're going to go next.
Okay, and that's what the mayor just said, too. So, yeah, it seems like there was a lot of work to get this passed, and so we'll see what happens here. Let's talk about you.
Yeah.
Oh,
You get
thank you.
2 more years.
I got 2 more years.
Congratulations.
I thank all my folks, you know, down in Ward 2 area. I had a great showing. I did 72%.
Wow.
And we had a very, very big
Very good.
turnout down there. It's the biggest turnout I've seen down in the Shirley
glad
Ave
to
Ward
hear
2
that.
area in a long, long time.
Well, you've done a lot of work down in
And,
Shirley Ave. You've
you know,
done a lot of work.
I appreciate it, you know, and I thank my family for having put up with it first. You know, between my wife and my son and my treasurer Nancy and everybody else that supported me, I thank them. I work hard, I enjoy what I do, and
Arthur was saying earlier that it makes it so much easier when you got your family supporting you
Supporting
like
you,
that.
yeah.
absolutely.
And because your job is, you know, it's all encompassing. I mean, you know, it doesn't stop when you go home at 5 o'clock at night. And so, you know, it takes a lot of patience and whatever and support from the family to be able to do it right. Yeah.
And it takes a lot of energy out of everybody.
Yeah.
And I know I put a lot of time in it. Sometimes my wife wonders if she's still married. But, you know, saying to my grandchildren, where are you tonight? They call me Meeting Zadie.
Yeah.
Well,
But it's a lot of fun. Everybody knows I enjoy what I do.
Yep.
and that's, you know, and that's funny because that's what Arthur was saying too. It's a passion, it's a love, it's, you know, he likes to serve, he likes to be a
Yeah.
public servant, and I see that with you as well, you know?
And it's great dealing with, you know, all the folks on the council, you know, and, you know, everybody is so friendly. Despite what goes on up here, sometimes, you know, we may have a few words, but we go, you know, we'll go out and have dinner afterwards like nothing ever happened.
And I have to say, you know, you talk about the public service, and I have to throw a plug in for my friend here, Ira Novoselsky. When we didn't have a ward councilor in Ward 1, I could call Ira Novoselsky, and he was there for us.
And you weren't the only one.
Yeah.
But, you know, but that's what it's all about, you know, backfilling. Unfortunately, we lost Jimmy Kimmerly, and,
Yep.
you know, it was devastating to everybody. You know, and, you know, he was a dear friend of mine, he's a dear friend of Councilor Penta's, you know, and, you know, that's the least I can do for, and we're neighbors, you know, we're, you know, right over the hill, you know,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, that's the least I can do, and I enjoy, you know, helping them also. You know,
So, yeah, sure.
don't ever do that again.
Looking at the other races, at-large race and school committee, because we see those, particularly the school committee, as being wide open. Your thoughts, do you think there are going to be some changes there?
I believe in the council, from what I heard in the rumor mill, is that we do have a new council.
Okay. So we haven't seen the numbers
No,
yet.
no,
So
We
we're-
haven't
we're-
seen-
from what I understand, you know, and it's not official, that Stephen Morabito did make the final at-large seat,
we were talking about that earlier.
and which I'm glad. It gives me an extra boost for Ward 2 and the Shirley Avenue on the council, you know, because now we got 2 votes up there, which
Well, we're getting all our election results
Yeah, yeah.
unofficially.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to have to get more people. John, do you have election results? Because we'll get you up here soon, too.
he got results.
Did he win?
Good, all right, that'd be great. So, all right, so obviously there's
you
a
know,
change.
I think I can say that, I'm, you know, pretty
okay.
confident to that. And
Well,
Jessica Janino topped the ticket.
She did, okay.
Wow, wow.
Okay.
I know that's pretty official. And I guess Council Zambudo came in second.
Okay, so this is what we're
Okay.
hearing. We're
All
hearing,
right, so we got Janino, Zambudo, and Morabito's in. And, you know, it's funny, because we were talking, of course, as
okay,
you
we
know,
are getting results. We are getting results.
we
We
got
are
some
hearing
results.
live that we are
Coming
getting
in here
results.
shortly. We're
So
looking for it to
hang
come
with
up
us,
with
Ira, we're going to hear it.
jumping the gun
This is
here?
the
Wait a
first,
minute.
yeah, you are jumping the gun, but
Take it from where
I should have used that word.
I'm sitting here saying, how do you know we don't? We have our guy downstairs
It's
and we're
my
not here.
job to know.
And we're knowing nothing.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah, well, they're telling us it's coming, it's coming.
it's
I
coming.
think
They're,
putting the
they're,
numbers into the
they're
system.
actually putting the numbers
And I'm
into the
sure,
system.
you know, like I said, the council was very good this year. We got a lot accomplished. We had a little rough start at
Mm-hmm.
the beginning, but the end, you know, everybody was on the same.
Well, you had a couple new
same page.
councilors, you know,
Yeah,
last year, and
between
that,
Jessica and
yeah, and Brian, that's
Yeah,
right, you know, and
absolutely.
they were awesome.
They
And, you know,
were
and
very well,
now,
very
you
good.
know, and I think you really had a great council, you know, and that's,
We had a very good working
Yeah,
council,
yeah.
may I say. You know, it's one of the
Yeah.
best ones I've seen around. We've had some good
and
ones.
you're
but
the,
this-
you're the third councilor that
And-
said that, so I mean, it
And
must
if I
have
could,
been.
I'm assuming that by Morabito getting in, that means John Correggio is out,
to my-
would be
to
the
my
one that lost out?
understanding, yes.
Okay.
yes.
All right, well, we'll find out.
We will find out.
Okay, I know, speaking of Jessica,
yeah.
and, you know, so
And-
we've got,
And I know she's waiting to come on along with John, but I don't know
Okay.
what's going on with
Okay,
the
so we
school
do have
department.
results. I'm seeing a hand up, which means we
We're-
have results.
oh,
Oh,
here
here we
we
go.
go. Here are the
Okay,
results.
Here
all
they
right,
come.
so 7 out of 21 precincts counted.
okay, so we have Arrigo with, whoops,
Lost it.
And we just lost it.
there we
Okay,
go. We have Arrigo with 1,321, we have Correggio with 1,217, we've got Jessica with 1,850, so she's the top. We don't have these in any order, so I've got to try and figure out what, 1,500 for Rob Hass, and we've got 1,400 for Tony Zambudo, so it looks like...
Zambudo and then
was
Morabito.
1,453, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4,
1453, I'm doing this as we're talking.
Well, Bob Hass would be the 5, okay.
Brian,
That's
And
7.
John
that's a
Brian.
Crajo
third of the
had
city.
1217. Okay,
That's a third of the city.
1321, right, am I right?
so there we are.
Morabito.
Yep,
Okay.
and that's 7 out of 21, so.
So we still have,
have
we
a
have
few
some
more
few,
precincts
yeah,
to go.
I would still say we'd need about 4 more precincts to really, I mean, I don't see it, I mean, if we're looking at it, you know, it's, I guess they've pulled enough. We know that Walter Colville's not gonna
Do anything.
do anything at this point, you know, but it is close, you know, between,
Yeah, and I got mine mostly unofficial from the other candidates who already have people in the street and
Yep.
doing call-ins like we were doing.
Like I said, we'll
myself.
take it any way we can get
Oh,
it.
I'm sure.
right,
But, you
right,
know, like I said, you know, I don't know what's going on with school committee.
Okay,
okay, yeah.
well, we'll probably get that about midnight tonight.
Oh, we got school committee coming up
Yeah,
right
they come
now.
right
Here we
now.
go.
Oh,
Okay.
here we go. We got some
So,
school committee
so we got
now.
Michael Ferranti again topping the ticket with 1410.
Actually, no, Carol Ty.
Carol
topped the
Ty.
ticket, 1584.
Oh.
And we got Michael Ferranti at
Oh,
1410.
Okay.
Moving down from there, we have Stacy Rizzo at 1283. I'm sorry, Susan Gravellisi, 1394. Now
Wow.
that, unbelievable. Patrick Keefe at 995. So we've got.
No, Dan
1,
McGuire at
2,
1109.
3. Wow, yes. Fred Sinella's got 1115. This again is 7 out of 21. So this is, you know, that's
11:15,
only a
so
third
Fred's
of the
above,
precincts.
yeah.
You know, so
It's, yeah,
yeah,
There's still a long way to go.
Yeah, there's a way to go on that one. So.
yeah,
We've, Susan Gravellisi doing unbelievably strong.
yeah, yeah.
1,394 votes. Wow.
Down in my neighborhood,
Wow,
I can
she's
say
gonna be
that,
happy.
And Donna Wood, you know, it looks to me like between Freddie Sinella, Donna Wood Pruitt, Dan McGuire, you know, you got 1109, 1115, 1134. You know,
Right, no
that's
clue.
tight. Yeah, that's tight there.
I did make
You
a
know.
note that Juan Jaramillo, down in my neighborhood, actually topped the ticket in one of the precincts.
Did he really?
Yes.
That's great.
You know,
That's
and,
great.
You know, he's a good kid. It's nice to see.
He is a good kid.
Young,
Yeah,
nice
you're
to
right.
see young folks.
You're right.
Getting into, you know,
But I
between
didn't see
Juan,
what Juan had there. but-
between Juan and Susan and
Yep.
Patrick.
Yeah,
You know, I know they got kids in the school, but you
Right.
know, Juan's a youngster, and it's
Right.
nice to see the young kids coming in and want to
Yep.
put their name on the line there. And
We were talking about that earlier tonight in terms of, you know, when you looked at the at-large in the last race, you know, there was that, if you will, youth vote. I mean, there were
Right.
some changes as a result of, you know, with Brian, with Jessica, and with Stephen, who ultimately lost out. This year here, I'm expecting to see a similar, you know, sort of thing occur within the school
Right.
committee. We'll see.
Right.
All right, Ira, we've got some
Ladies
other
and
people
gentlemen,
hanging out
thank you
here.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
for
everybody.
stopping by.
Congratulations.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
And we'll look for another 2 years of progress.
okay.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Let's see, John, do you want to go up? Jessica? We'll,
Careful. John's going to have to tell us if he won or not,
yeah,
because we
right,
don't have the
exactly.
numbers.
We'll have breaking news here.
John, you're gonna have
Coming
to
in
give
from
us
John
breaking
Powers, man
news.
on the street. So I guess we can say congratulations once again, or?
From what I've seen, you certainly can.
Okay.
And right from the outset, I want to thank my opponent for a good campaign, a vigorous campaign. We talked about issues, we had a debate. He differed somewhat on certain issues than I did, and it is what it is. I'd also want to thank certainly the voters of Ward 5 for consistently sending me up to this chamber to represent them. And I certainly will always be mindful of the trust and confidence that they placed in me. That's very important to me. I want to thank my family. You're out there today working very hard, and my special friend, Mary Ellen Martin, who worked very hard and certainly paid a major contribution to my victory tonight. And I'll always be grateful for that to all of them. But I've consistently voted against overdevelopment in the city. I don't think that's where we should be looking. We should be looking at not over residential development, I'm
Right,
referring
right.
to. Our school system now has 7,000 children in the school system. We're looking at the possibility of building another school, as Dr. Dakin has said. I think that, you know, that the people that have made this city, that have lived in this city all of their lives, I think they need a break now with regard to taxes and water bills. My understanding is that the casino vote in East Boston failed. I hope that, you know, we can work with the mayor and the owners of Wonderland to perhaps see if we can do something down there with you know, a casino-type operation. You know, my opponent was against the casino. I was for the casino. And basically, my feeling was that no matter where the casino went, if it went to Everett or it went to Suffolk Downs, Revere was going to be impacted in the same way, traffic-wise, coming up 107, 1A, the boulevard. And I felt that it was important, if we were going to be impacted, to get mitigation monies from the operators of the casino. And not only that, but also to look toward future development, maybe at the Shaw site, maybe getting rid of that trailer park down on the Parkway, which has been a blighted area for years. In fact, I met a couple of weeks ago with the owner of the trailer park and a developer that was looking to put a hotel down there. And that's a positive thing. People, you know, you don't realize that when you build a hotel, you get initially the construction permitting money, which could run over $100,000. You don't pick up their trash, you don't send any kids into the school system. You get the real estate tax, you get jobs, you get the room excise tax. It's a win-win for the city.
We're 7 minutes from an airport. I've said this 1,000 times,
Exactly,
John.
exactly.
We don't have enough, working at the airport, we don't have enough hotels. We're
Exactly.
sending people to Woburn. We as a city should be putting up more and more hotels. I'm with you 100% on this.
And my feeling also was that we've got probably close to 800 hotel rooms in the city right now. Most of those rooms, depending on the occupancy on any given night, the rate may run from 109 to 159 to 179. If in fact there were a casino facility adjacent to the city of Revere, or even in the city of Revere, those rates would jump probably to $279 a night or $289 a night, giving us probably an extra $6 per night per room in every room that was rented. So it's the Comfort Inn, for instance, gives us in real estate taxes over $500,000 a year, plus the jobs. I have a fellow that lives in my ward that works over it there. He drives the van over there, and you know it's
And you're
it's
right.
extra income.
We
for
get the
these people.
jobs, and we have no kids in the school system.
Yeah, and you know, and people, I don't want to see Wonderland lie dormant, but I don't want to see something develop down there that will impact Point of Pines, Oak Island, and Lower Revere Street, because those people down there have a right to be able to get in and out of their homes in a reasonable fashion without being impacted severely by traffic.
Yeah.
So I want to see something go down there. And again, I don't want to see it lie dormant, because that's not helping the city either.
Well, that will be one of the big questions. I mean, if in fact the mayor's, plan to try and put a casino here in Revere, one of the places that was talked about was possibly Wonderland, and there's huge neighborhood impact if it goes there.
Well, you have, there will be impact, but at least we'd be getting some revenue. We'd be
Yeah,
able to help
for
people
sure.
with their water bills, with their tax bills, infrastructure repairs, streets, sidewalks, so much we could do.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, our bonded debt is over $140 million. That's almost to the total of our budget, which is $150-odd million. So, that's a scary thing when you stop and think about it.
Well, that's what we were saying tonight. What happens if there is no casino? Where does the money come from? That's what happens next.
I think we have to tighten our belt. I voted for McKinley School. I voted for the other 4 schools because when I first got elected to council, I made a pledge that I would vote for the 5 schools that were going to cost us $85 million. 90% reimbursed was going to cost the city $8.5 million, okay? That didn't seem like a lot of money when you factored in that the Paul Revere and the McKinley were over 100 years old, and you could probably spend that money, that $8.5 million, over a 10-year period. But I did vote against the office building that they're putting into the McKinley School, My feeling was that when Dr. Dakin came up here every so often and said, our school population is increasing by 200 to 300 kids per year, maybe we should hold up on that office building and not spend that, not $2.5 million, but when you figured in the debt service, $4.7 million.
Yeah.
So my feeling was that we shouldn't go there. Keep the building. When the kids get out of there and go to the new school, we may need that space.
Well, I've got a feeling there's going to be a lot more of those discussions
Yeah,
coming up
I
in the
agree,
next 2
I agree.
years. So you'll be earning
100%.
what little salary you get from this job.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations
Congratulations.
once again, John. I really
Congratulations.
appreciate you come by and
You ran a
giving us
good race.
the results.
I do enjoy the job. I do it full-time, and I think it is a full-time job to do it effectively.
And I was going to say there's a common thread. I mean, with Arthur, with Ira, with yourself. Every one of you said, I enjoy the job, and one of the things I said to Arthur, you know, there's that saying that goes, if you don't enjoy your job, go do something else. So,
Well, I enjoy
Good,
it.
I'm glad
and-
you can
and I-
enjoy it.
And I put a significant amount of time into it every week, and I'll continue to do that as long as the voters of Ward 5 feel that they want me to represent them.
Well,
welcome.
they've
All right.
spoken.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Good to see you again, John. Thank you very much for coming by. Jessica.
We have in our audience Jessica Giannino, who seems to have topped the ticket.
Welcome and
Hi,
congratulations.
Thank you so
Yes.
much. Good to see you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Good to
Pretty in
see
your
you.
pink.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We painted the town pink.
Yay!
From first term, vice president of the city council and now top vote getter in this year's election. I mean, what a ride.
It has been surreal, to say the least. I can't even believe how amazing this experience has been, and I'm so, so grateful.
Yeah, I can well imagine. I mean, what?
What are you attributing this
Yeah.
to?
My family,
Aw.
that lovely lady sitting
Oh,
in the
and
arms of
she's-
my
and
grandmother.
her grandmother.
My dad. My family has been incredible, and there have been so many of them that have been so important, and my friends and the friends of our family, and the support that comes out when you do something like this. And when you see how many people care about your family, you know, it's not a tribute to me, it's a tribute to them and to all of us. And it's just
Well,
unbelievable.
if you didn't do your job, Jessica, people wouldn't vote for you. So let's go back to that. You have a good family, and we all agree with that. You have a great family, and they've been in the city, and they have done a lot of work in the city. But you are obviously doing a good job,
Thank you.
or people wouldn't vote for you. You answered. You came out to the Q&A. You answered your questions. You had a tough question
I
about
did.
the police.
I did.
And you came out, and I think that you may have had a good contingent of voters from the police department after answering that question.
Well, I hope so.
You know, I think that, you know, you've represented the people of Revere, and they have certainly spoken.
And that's been my goal, so I'm very, very proud of that.
Well, congratulations. That's so great. So what during the next couple of years, do you have anything in mind?
I love what I do, and you know, I heard you guys talking about loving what you do, and I feel like it's so early on for me, and I have such a passion for this, and I really get excited before every meeting. It's like a rush, like it's your first one again, and I plan on taking this very far over the next few years.
What are you majoring in
I'm
college?
an English major and an educational studies minor.
And you're a senior?
I'm a senior, yeah, I graduate in May.
Oh, so you'll be done with your studies. Are you going on to postgraduate or?
Eventually.
Yep.
I'm still looking into programs. I'm not 100% sure what or where, but definitely, I mean, I love school, so I'll be going to school for a very long time.
That's my alma mater, and that was my major as well, English. So, yeah.
So as you know, this councilor at large on the city council and looking at the issues coming up, and we've been talking about, of course, the big news tonight is that, you know, Revere voted yes on the casino, but East Boston said no. So going forward, as John was saying, we're going to have to sharpen the pencil, and you know, there's a lot of things that are going to have to be done over the next couple of years. So you've got quite a few challenges coming up.
Absolutely, and I really think it's a situation where Revere has a lot of new opportunities, and we have to really look at this and figure out what our next move is and carefully do that.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, well, we will see where it goes in the coming years, in the coming
Exciting.
months, actually.
Go spend
It's gonna
time with your
happen a lot
family.
sooner.
I will. I can't wait to get back to them.
Go ahead.
Well, thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was so good to see you.
Enjoy your celebration.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Congratulations,
Have a great night.
Grandma.
Take care. Well, interesting. It's,
Yeah,
I don't
let's
know
get
if we
back
can get
to those numbers back,
up on here.
and we can just take a
We can get
look at
somebody from
those.
the control room to throw the numbers back up?
It looked like, we were looking at the at-large candidate, it looked like Jessica had 1850, and then
Yeah,
we
I
were
wasn't
saying
able to
that
write them
Haas had
down, or-
1504, Zambuto, and then Morbido. As a matter of fact, I was surprised to see Brian Arrigo was the fifth counselor.
Interesting, yeah.
So that,
Yeah, and again, I think what we were seeing is that it was 7 out of 21 precincts reporting. So
Yeah,
it's
so
still
it was
a
still
third.
early, yeah.
But obviously, there are other numbers that were, and those are the numbers we had. There must be other numbers that are downstairs because,
Yeah.
I mean, for Jessica to be able to, to come up and,
well, I mean, at this point, yeah, I think she,
Yep.
you know,
or even in John Powers, so.
well,
so-
we don't, the seven, we don't know the percentage of the vote. Yeah, we don't know the percentage of the vote yet. Same on
Yours
the
been
school committee. We're not sure.
Has yours been determined?
Not yet. No, just not sure yet.
It's still up in the air?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, so we're still, yeah, they're still
Yeah, I
waiting.
saw those numbers, unbelievable. Yeah.
Okay, it looks like we have more numbers in? Let's see. It looks like we're going to get some more
There we
numbers in.
go.
Okay, now we got 12 out of 20.
Counselor at large, all right, so we've got Arrigo with 12 out of 21. We've got
Okay.
Arrigo at 2372. Correggio was 2171.
So again, we see Jessica with 3270, and it's very close. Now we have Robert Haas, 2672, Anthony Zambuto, 2657.
2657, yeah.
Yeah, and then we're looking at, again, Stephen Morbido, 2624. I mean, we're just talking very, very close here.
Yeah.
Brian Arrigo, 2372. Now that it's making, now we're coming very close. John Correggio, 2171. George Rotundo, 2167. I mean, if you were to believe this, there's 4 votes between John Correggio and George Rotundo.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So this is not over. I mean, we can certainly see
I mean,
that
there's
Jessica's
still
probably
only, I
gonna
mean,
be
when
the
you're
top
looking
vote
at
getter,
it,
but-
it's only 200 votes between Brian and John Correggio. I mean, we don't know the percentage of votes out of the 21 precincts, but it is pretty amazing that, yes, Janino, Jessica did definitely top the ticket. And then if you look under it, it's very close. We're talking 20 to 30 votes separating the next 4 candidates.
We're looking at the casino vote at this point.
Okay.
Yes, with 12 of 21 precincts, yes was 3879 to no of 2508. So it was a 1,300 point, roughly, difference between the yeses and the nos. We didn't see anything on the school committee at this point.
No, we still haven't seen the school committee. We had heard that Revere was a yes vote. Do we have more? Okay, it's going to be coming right back up. We're looking at school committee coming right back up, so let's get ready for that, okay?
Right, okay, here's the school committee, all right.
All right,
we
so
have,
again, Carol Ty, 2831.
Right. Susan Gravelisi,
Susan
2570.
Gravelisi, wow. 2577.
I can hear numbers
I
being
can hear-
called downstairs. Carol Ty is 2831.
It looks like Michael Ferranti, again, 2474. I'm looking at Dan McGuire, 2105.
Stacy Rizzo's
Stacy Rizzo,
2322.
2322. So it looks like Stacy, Dan, I'm looking for Donna Wood,
Franti is 2474 we
2093.
got.
Ricky, 1628. Patrick Keith, 1809. He's still there.
2093 is Donna Wood Pruitt, yeah.
And Fred Sinella, 1850. So Fred Sinella is
Yeah, one,
under
two,
Donna
three,
Wood
four,
Pruitt.
five, who's, so I got Donna at 2093, Dan McGuire 2105. And we got Susan, we got 1809. So that would be the six right now that it looks like. Ty,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right now,
Travelisi, Ferranti, Rizzo, McGuire, and Pruitt, as it
Right.
stands at this point, would be the
right.
six.
And
Yep.
we're talking, but again, we're only talking, was it now 12 out of 21?
Yeah, 12 out of 21 precincts, right?
right.
And I haven't,
A little bit more than half. You know, still in my mind, half is not enough. We're still only talking, you know, 100 votes. Well,
Yeah.
we look at Donna and,
can we get that school committee one back up again?
well, you know,
Yeah. I just want to see the
there's
difference.
only 41 votes between Fred Sinella and Patrick Keefe.
All right.
There's 150 votes between Donna Wood Pruitt and Fred
970 Jerry
Sinella,
Mello. Yep.
you know.
Right, so after 2093, then we go down to,
How many between Dan McGuire and Donna Wood Pruitt? I mean, it's really, you know, it's just too close to call right now, I would say.
so after Pruitt, we get, right.
Susan Gravelisi
Sinella.
looks like she's definitely in. I
Yeah.
would say Susan Gravelisi, Michael, and Carol. After that, it looks...
Franny is 1628. Franny
Yeah.
is, yeah.
Yeah, it's still close.
And then Patrick Keefe is 1809, which puts him in there, in the middle.
Yeah. I mean,
So
it's
that's the group that could be running. You know, so Donna Wood Pruitt, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which would be the last one on the school committee. The lowest number so far is about 1,100, 1,200 above Sinella.
No, only
Did I-
really about
yeah,
200.
about 200.
150 to 200.
200, excuse me. Yep. Math was never my big.
Yeah. Okay, so,
So it's close at that, but it looks like those are the six at this point in time. So we,
so
We
maybe,
wait.
maybe we're not going to see as many upsets as we thought we would. You know,
yeah,
it looks
yeah,
like
I mean, you know, it'd be Susan Gravelisi.
Gravelisi might be
yeah,
the only one that, you know, does upset
Big.
the apple cart.
Big turnout there.
Big turnout for Susan
Be
Gravelisi.
interesting to talk to Susan, and
Oh, absolutely.
I know the family well, actually. It's in the family.
Wow.
And I know
So
that
maybe we
she
can get her on the
and-
line.
Well, her sisters were out there working really, really hard. You know, I mean, they were, I saw them many nights on the streets passing out flyers and knocking on doors, and they really, really pushed hard.
And in case you haven't heard on the casino numbers, once again, the casino vote is a no in East Boston. According to Mayor Dan Rizzo, the casino vote was a no in East Boston. We haven't had official numbers, but he said it
Yeah.
is a no in East Boston. It is a yes in Revere.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, as the mayor said. To hypothesize or whatever at this point tonight, it'll be interesting to see as the next days play out. You know, from the meetings with the mayor and with Suffolk Downs and the gaming commission, you know, what those possibilities are going to be, because a lot of stars got to, I think, kind of line up.
Yeah, it's, I
you
mean,
know.
and you know, he said it was overwhelming. 2508 no, 3,879 yes.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, it's, I don't know how overwhelming that is.
Yeah.
When I look
Yeah,
at
yeah,
it. You know, if I was to
without
do
my
the
calculator, I'm
percentages,
lost to try and figure
I
out the
know,
percentage rate,
you know,
exactly.
I'm sitting here with my phone right now, going
Pull up
to,
the phone and
yeah.
go to the calculator.
Oh,
and
we
have it-
do have somebody here we can talk to. We have Steve Morabito right now.
Steven,
We can
are
talk
we
to
able to,
Stephen. I don't know if we're able
all
to
right.
count it, but
I guess he's saying yes, we can.
he's
Come on
saying
in.
yes.
Well, congratulations again, I guess, is in order this time.
Yes.
Is this one
Yes,
gonna
are we
stick?
sure, Stephen? Are we going to do a recount?
No, no recount. Strong fourth.
Yay.
Wonderful.
A strong fourth is what Stephen Morabito is reporting to
So,
us.
no, you must have just come up from downstairs, so how many precincts have reported at this point?
All of them have reported.
All have reported in, okay,
All have reported.
okay. So the final number for you was what?
Number 4.
Okay, you came in fourth.
Yes.
All right. Congratulations.
Yes. So a
Congratulations.
recount
So-
will not be in order.
Yeah, wow, that's
After
kind of
last
interesting.
election,
And, okay, so
So do
obviously
it-
you're down there, you're number 4, so can you give us the others?
Brian?
I cannot.
Oh, you can't, okay, all right, then
Okay.
fine, all right, if you can't, no worries.
Okay.
All right,
Stephen, congratulations.
Yes.
What are your
Very much.
plans?
so,
My plan is to work in
Here,
the
why
best
don't you take
interest
this
of
right
our city and its people.
Yeah.
And I worked very hard to get elected, and I'll work very hard for the people of Revere. And that's my plan right
Yeah.
now. Right now, my adrenaline's pumping, so
Oh,
I just
I-
want to celebrate and
well,
You
you
do
know,
work
because,
very
and we were
hard.
talking earlier tonight, because, you know, as we came on the air earlier, we were talking about the last results, and I remember that night you coming in, and at that point you were up by 10, and it was close, but you know, you thought you had won, and then the recount came along, and boom, you lose by 3 points, and that's gotta be tough.
exactly. It's one thing to lose, but to win and then lose,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's kind of difficult.
So-
Doesn't settle well.
But you know what, to your credit, you never gave up, Stephen.
No,
And you came back,
perseverance.
and you persevered, and you came back, and you fought, and I give you a lot of credit. 2 years have passed, and you're back, and obviously, people came out for you.
Thank you. I'm a firm believer, if you work hard, you'll get the job done.
And just curious, I mean, do you know what your total vote was? Oh, okay, all right, because I was just curious versus, because the
You
question
just
was
know
going to
it.
be, how did you do this time versus the last time, and what did you attribute it to? But we'll have to save that till
I
later.
just came here, I want to go home and celebrate. I just want to tell everyone out there who
Yep.
supported me, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I am so excited, so thrilled that I had so many supporters come out this time to stand behind me, and the people's voice were heard this time, and thank you.
Well, all right,
Congratulations, Stephen. Go
congratulations,
celebrate,
Brian.
huh?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
Stephen, go celebrate, yes.
Thank you.
Take care.
Well, that's a happy Stephen Morabito.
Yes, yes, yes.
And as he said, we won't be having any recounts this time. A strong fourth, and congratulations. So we'll have to see if we can get some more numbers coming up
Yeah.
and be able to report on that outcome.
Yeah, so it looks like we've got all precincts reported, so we're just...
Oh, here we go.
Okay, we have
17.
17 of 21 is being reported to us right now.
Okay.
And I guess,
Okay,
okay, so
so
now
now-
we've got Jessica still at 4565. And then we have underneath that 45, all right,
We
so the next
have,
one would be
is Robert Haas.
37. Would Bob Haas?
Yep. Zambuto, 3678. Morabito, 3545. And it looks
Number
like Brian
45.
Arrigo with 3446.
46, 37, 34.
And then following would be John Correggio with 3108. No, actually, George Rotundo, 3188.
3188.
And then John Correggio with 3108. And then Walter Colville with 1,039. So again, with 17 out of 21 precincts counted, Jessica Giannino would top the ticket at the at-large results. Robert Haas, Tony Zambuto, Stephen Morabito, and Brian Arrigo would be the counselors. The upset would be Stephen Morabito beating out John Correggio, the incumbent.
Right. So, and basically, yeah, I mean, when you look at who he beat out the incumbent, George Correggio, and he also beat out Brian Rigo in terms of votes, up to this point anyway. But
Yeah, I'm
John
trying to
Correggio
think,
is the one that might
actually,
get
I'm
loses
trying
out
to
in
think,
this.
if we go back, it's funny because Bob Haas topped the ticket 2 years ago.
Yep.
And, you know, he came in, as we're looking at it now, he came in
here.
second.
Yep.
And it was Haas, Zambuto, Arrigo came in third, Jessica fourth, and then it was Correggio, Morabito. So times have changed, you know.
Yep.
It looks like the newer members,
Yep.
you know, are, and again, we have 3 young people on the council.
Yep. Right.
With Haas and Zambuto.
So you've got, you know, Arrigo, you know, I guess you look at it, I mean, Arrigo was the number 3 vote getter the last time. He's
Right.
number 5 this time, so he's kind of dropped down in the standings if you look at it that way. Haas and Zambuto pretty much stayed up there, and Janino, you know, ran to the top, you know. So
Yep.
when we look at the top 4, one of them fell down to the bottom.
Right.
And
right.
then Morabito came in, and Correggio was
Well,
out.
you know, Brian has been vocal, and I hope we get him down here tonight. He's
Yeah.
been vocal on his views about the casino. He's been anti-casino.
Well, you know,
You know, and we'll see if maybe that has something
yeah,
to do with
you
it.
know, it's interesting because that's what I was wondering. You know, when I saw some of those numbers, you know, did that
Here we
have
go
any
with
bearing?
school
Okay, here we
committee.
got the school committee. Okay,
Okay, let's see what we have here. We
Carol
have
Ty, 4134. Ty. We've got
Susan
after that,
Gravellisi, 3568.
3568.
Michael Ferranti, 3461. And here we go.
3568.
Looks like
I'm sorry.
2975 for Dan McGuire. Where's Stacy Rizzo? Stacy 33. So Stacy's above Dan.
3312.
Stacy McGuire and Fred Sinella 27.
Who's the other one?
Donna Wood 2872.
And that would be, that's 5, and then,
Would be Donna Wood.
27.
So we're looking at Carol Ty, Susan Gravellisi, Michael Ferranti, Stacy Rizzo,
Michael I missed, okay.
Dan McGuire, and Donna Wood Pruitt. Fred Sinella following with 2701. Patrick Keefe, 2650.
You got Sinella at
Emmerich
2701
Frenny with
is out.
22,001. 2201, 2,201. And Juan with 1308. 16 out of 21. I'm just looking at the numbers to see if, I'm looking at potentially, yeah, there's enough, it looks like there's enough, enough between 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, between 6 and 7 at this point to make it a call. I would say there's 170, approximately 170 votes between Donna Wood Pruitt and Fred Sinella. It looks like Fred Sinella may be losing his seat to Susan Gravellisi at this point.
Yep. Susan would be the new person on the board, and Fred
yeah.
would be the man out.
And it looks like at this point, I mean, unless, you know, but we have 5 more precincts, unless there any one of, you know, and again, it could be Fred Sinella's precinct, it could be Patrick Keats, it could be Rick
Patrick Keefe
Frenny's.
is only 49,
You know, we have,
51 votes behind.
we have Michael Ferranti just came in, so let's talk to Michael, he's definitely in. And we have Dan McGuire here too. I would say that we're good on both of those two. So Dan, why don't you come on up? It looks like you're re-elected, my friend. Congratulations.
Thank you, Miss Debbie. Thank you, Mr. Ed.
Congratulations, Dan. I saw you out there many times on the corners with your sign.
Yes, yes.
All over the city.
This was a tough election.
This was
campaigning.
a tough, exciting election.
Yeah.
You know, no matter where, at the end of the day, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th, there was quality.
candidates on the school committee. You know, I had a feeling Sue Gravelisi would run strong, being a lifelong resident and a Beachmont girl who has her roots there and lives in Ward 6.
Yep.
So it made me work harder. I tell you that. But to the you know, Fred Sinella or Patrick Keefe's, Rick Frenny and Juan, who graduated with my daughter Michaela. I mean, kudos to everybody.
Yes.
You know,
Absolutely.
politics is tough. You have 10 good people running and 6 get seats. It's. I just hope they don't disappear and don't take it too badly.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because you're right, there are some quality candidates out there, and you know, it's you build upon it.
Well, you know,
take
we
away
have
and
PTAs in the school, we have school improvement councils, we have all kinds of groups around the city that those people are obviously extremely welcome. And you know, I know Rick is very involved, I know Patrick's very involved. So it's not, and Juan is obviously, you know, those people are all involved. It's not like they're going to disappear.
It's
you know?
three unique scenarios. You have a recent graduate who, an immigrant to this country. You have a person that's done great work for special needs and will continue. I know he will continue to do great works for special needs in the Lily Ricky Foundation. You have Patrick Keefe, who's a gentleman, a father of 2 lovely children, a lovely wife, and I hope they continue their good work. And I just say I'm blessed to have a great wife, I have some great kids and great family members that continue to support this little big Irish kid from Immaculate. But thank you. I know there's other people to speak.
Yep.
My blood pressure's about 1,000 degrees right now. But
I know, everybody's running on adrenaline
oh
right
my
now.
God! I take my hat off, but I'm having a bad hair day.
That's all right, we like your hat. We like those World Series
I love the
championship.
Boston Red Sox.
Boston Red Sox.
They spurred me on through the end days of the campaign with their run for the pennant. So
Yeah,
I love Revere, and I'll continue to serve it.
congratulations, Steve.
Thank you.
And congratulations
Thank you.
once again.
Thank you.
And let's get, we're getting a signal.
I
What do
think
we
we're getting
have?
a signal that we've got something coming up here.
Okay. Okay, this is
Oh, we
final,
have, the
final ward results.
The ward results,
Okay.
okay, 21 of 21, here we go.
And this,
Richard Penta,
Richard,
1590 to 772 for Greg Lysedra. So almost a little bit less than half, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Twice as many anyway.
twice as many, yep. Twice
Yep,
as many
yeah,
votes.
more than twice as many, actually.
Yeah, we knew our Ira, we know.
We knew Ira, and then
Yeah,
we knew
unopposed.
about John.
And there's John
Al.
Powers. Yeah, again,
That was
twice
close.
as many votes.
Yeah, twice as many, yeah, again.
Charlie
but, yeah,
Patch ran opposed, of course. Okay, so we know that of all 21 precincts, so
Yep.
Richard Penta, congratulations. He is,
Ward 1 City Councilor.
Yes, he
once
is.
Again. And
Once
John
again.
Powers will return again. So in terms of the ward races, everything remains the same.
yes. And I don't
Here's some
know,
updates on the 21 out of 21 precincts. On the casino vote, it was 66-49 to 43-22.
66-49, 43-22, so I guess, yeah. Okay, and here we go again, Council at Large. This will be our final count on the Councilor at Large. It's official. Jessica Janino topped the ticket, 5,447 votes. Looks like Robert Haas, second with 4,527. Anthony Zambuto, 4,481.
That didn't change.
No,
Morabito.
Morabito with 4,312, and Brian Arrigo with 4,267. So that has not changed. Those will
Okay,
be
so
your
that-
councilors
yep.
at large.
Yep. So we have a new councilor coming into the large seat.
And right behind that, of course, was George Rotundo with 3,940, John Correggio with 3,699, and Walter Koval with 1,306 votes.
So Rotundo actually
Congratulations
beat
to
out
all those who
Correggio.
run. Yes. School committee is next, and again, we have Carol Ty topping the ticket with 4,949 votes.
Susan Gravelisi with 4222.
And right behind her, 4221, Michael Ferranti. That's very close. One vote
21, yeah, wow.
separating second and third place.
Yep.
So,
And then Stacy Rizzo is 4067.
and 3584 is Dan McGuire, and it looks like 3534 is Donna Wood Pruitt, if I'm not wrong, but
I
it
think
just,
we've got
it went
yep,
away.
Yep.
All right, let's, before we look at that again, let's get Carol Ty up here.
Actually,
Michael
Michael
Ferranti was
Ferranti.
first, I'm
Yep.
sorry. Michael was here. Yeah. Congratulations, Michael.
Thank you.
Mwah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What a nice seat I have. I get to kiss everybody. Congratulations, I'll tell you. It looks like if there's not a recount, second or third place on that by a vote, but very nice turnout, very nice position to be in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really thankful to all the voters that voted for me. You know, really a special thanks goes out to all the people that helped me. You know, to all my family and friends, and especially my wife. You know, without my wife, I would have really been nowhere in this thing. And they did a lot of work for me, and I'm really thankful that the voters gave me another chance to be in the school committee. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart.
That's great. Well, you do a good job, Michael, and obviously they're voting for you.
I'm very happy.
Okay, we have this just in, and I'm just reading it. East Boston has voted 56% no. It looks like 44.9% yes.
44% yes. So, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so the no votes won. It was 56%
So it was about a
no.
12% difference
Yeah,
in East Boston.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. It's on the screen now. We got the East Boston vote right now.
Oh, okay.
So, no 3803 to 2996 yes.
Yep.
Wow, low. That looks like a very low turnout to
Well,
me.
again, that's just East Boston.
Yeah, but
I don't know what the
still.
numbers are in East Boston, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
what-
considering
but-
that Revere
yeah.
is 6649 to 4322,
Yeah,
but that's 90% of their vote.
Yep.
And it was, that to me is close.
So, Michael, looking forward to the next couple of years, what do you see as the major issues that you'll have to deal with on the school committee?
Well, obviously the biggest one is the enrollment. You know, the enrollment's going out of control. You know, even though we're building a McKinley school, there's a potential that we're going to need another school. And there's really not a lot we can do about it. You know, the city just has grown by leaps and bounds, and, you know, with the additional housing coming, it's going to bring more kids in, and it's just not a good situation to be in. And, you know, a lot of people don't want to hear it, but the facts are the facts.
Yeah. So, you know, and looking at it from a city, you know, and particularly as it relates to the schools, it seems to me at this point that, you know, we've got two issues, as you said. We're going to have to get some bonding for some additional schools, and we're going to have to face some difficult zoning issues relative to the building of residences and how we control that population increase.
Yeah, but unfortunately, part of that thing was already done prior.
Yep.
So there's not much you can do. It's going forward.
Yeah, that's what I'm
And the
talking
problem
about.
is that the city's landlocked. I mean, there's really no land that we can even build on, even to build anything. I mean, we're building the McKinley School and the stadium almost back to back with each other. So we really have a shortage of land, and increased enrollment is not a good combination to be in.
Not only that, where are we getting the money if there's no casino?
That's going to be another issue. I mean, I'm not sure that if there's another step to this thing where it went down tonight in East Boston, if it can move over to Wonderland, I'm not sure what they can do. So we got a real serious problem right now.
Yeah, so we're going to have some challenges coming
Yeah.
up.
We got an interesting 2 years coming up.
I'm glad you got voted in, because now you have a lot of problems.
Yeah, we have more problems.
Enjoy your night
All
tonight.
right,
because
thank
tomorrow
you.
you're going to wake up
Thanks a
all
lot.
white.
All right.
All
Okay.
right, take care.
Okay,
Nice to
now
talk
we
to
will
you.
have Carol
Now we
Ty
can have
come
Carol
up.
Ty up here, yes?
Yeah, everybody's saying bing, bang, boom, and that's what we're going to try to do. Congratulations,
Thank you,
Carol.
Deb. Thanks so much.
Carol, how are you?
Great.
Congratulations
Thank you so
once
much.
again. Top vote getter.
Thank you.
Once again,
Yes.
I've noticed that 2 years ago you did the same exact thing to up the ticket. So, I mean, people of Revere have spoken, Carol. They have a lot of confidence in you, and that must feel pretty good.
It does. It really does. I mean, I think people know if you really try, any one of us can make a mistake at any time. But I think they do know if you get in there and you try all the time to do what's best. I try always to think, to make my decision on the basis of what's really best for the kids. And, you know, it's not always right, but it's the one that I that is the mantra that I say to myself all the time when I'm in the decision-making process. What's best for the kids? What's really
And you know
best
what,
for them?
you just said, it. Nobody's perfect, that's not what anybody asks you to be.
Right,
But
right.
that is it, we want you here to make the best decision for the kids. As a parent, that's what I would
Right,
ask for.
of course.
And I would assume that everybody who's voting is
Right,
asking you to
right.
do the same thing.
Right, I think that's true. And of course, I'm lucky enough so that I've had people out there who are voting for me who were in 2 generations ago were in my class. Because, you know, I'm well over 50 years in the Revere Public Schools. So it's been a long time.
Well,
And it's been a great life, and I am very, very grateful. I'm really grateful that, you know, we had a wonderful election. I'm grateful that, you know, everybody's healthy, that they've all come through. I'm always sad for the people who don't make it, because it's so heartbreaking when you put your heart and soul into it and then you don't win. It's really hard.
We were talking
It is.
about that earlier, yes.
Yeah,
We are.
it's really,
And,
it's
and,
hard.
and everybody gave a good fight. Everybody gave a great fight, and they were,
And you know, when you ask those questions, you know, when you had that forum, well, I was sitting there thinking, wow, isn't this a great group of candidates here? Because they all were, I mean, the answers were well thought out, and you know, and those who weren't too sure of themselves had it written. Look at how studious they were about making sure they got it done right. I mean, I was really, really proud to be part of that group.
I felt the same way. There was a pride being
Yeah,
from Revere, and there was a
right.
pride, and you wanted to vote. You
Yes,
wanted to vote.
yes.
You knew who you wanted.
Right, they had, and I mean, I think it was very hard for people, because there were so many good candidates.
Yes.
And they were trying to make choices about if their first choice candidate or
Yep.
their second choice candidate, and would one knock the other out.
Absolutely.
So that's why I feel it, you know, a person who didn't come in this time, it doesn't mean that somebody wouldn't come in next time or the time after or whenever or for something else, because it was such a good group of people.
I totally agree.
And a good group for the council, too.
For sure.
I mean,
Absolutely.
It was a well-fought campaign, in the best sense of the word, and people were out there. You know, when I was standing on the street corner, I stood with a variety of people, some who were on the same ticket with me, some who weren't, some of the casino people, some for, some not
Exactly.
for. I mean, it's just, I have a lot of respect for everybody who gets out and tries.
I think I saw more signs this campaign than I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So,
I held out for a long time before I decided to put mine up, and then I thought, and then as people said to me, Carol, are you running? I thought, oh, it's
gotta
time to
do
get some
it.
signs
Yep,
up. Right,
yep.
and so then last minute, I put a bunch out, so it was good. But anyway, I look forward to working with a not quite all new, but somewhat new school committee. I look forward to working with Susan. I'm sad to lose my colleague.
Yep.
Who was my colleague in the Revere Public Schools as well. We did many an activity together. When I was superintendent, he was an assistant principal.
right.
He was
And he
always,
served well.
he was always someone to whom I looked for advice. We didn't know, I was a little more liberal, he was a little more conservative, but always a thoughtful, careful decision that he made. And I always respected that. And so I'm sad to see him lose, but I've known Susan since she was a child in Beechmont. So, and her son, and all her sister, nieces, and nephews. And so
Yeah.
that makes me happy. That's
Yeah.
Quite a machine there.
Yeah, and I'm so
Yeah.
happy, you know, that Dan and Donna are back, and Stacy.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
I
we
mean,
have-
they were-
We have
they
a lot
were-
of projects that
Yeah.
we're working on ourselves, and it's been a real joy to be working with them.
Well, we were just talking to Michael about, you know, the next couple of years. I mean, you guys have quite a few challenges ahead of you.
We certainly do.
particularly with
We're
this
looking at
no
the need
vote on
for
the casino and-
buildings,
yeah.
we're looking, and there's a whole new switch in the curriculum, you know, instead of having it so wide, to have it a little bit more narrow and deeper. And that's going to involve a lot of change for our teachers, and, you know, we need to support them in every way that we can. So, and sadly, we might lose a superintendent, too. I'm
That's-
hoping
yeah,
to
but-
persuade him to stay for a few more years, for many few years.
I'm just looking at this, Carol, and it looks like there's 4 women on the school committee.
Yeah, I
And
think-
only 2 men.
Wow. How many senators do we have?
I think it's time that we need a few more. I'm very proud to see that.
Well, Carol, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank
Good
you
luck
so
in the
much.
next
Thanks so
couple of
much.
years. Okay.
Bye now.
And who do we have next?
Mr. Chris, who's next?
Oh, we have Bob Haas will be next. And let me just get his numbers, I believe. Bob Haas, congratulations.
I thank you.
Yes.
Thank you
Once again, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, and we saw that you had a great turnout.
Yeah, we had a great turnout. It was from my committee, which is basically the family. We were all down to Lincoln School all day, and it showed it showed basically the whole campaign. It was a cold day out there. Everyone's cold. But again, waiting for the results to come in this evening, and a little slow coming in, but they're here now.
Yeah.
They're here
That's
now.
good, yeah.
And, you know, everybody on the council's been talking about what a great council you've had the last couple of years.
Absolutely.
And, you know, and it seems like that'll continue with one addition. And
Absolutely. Stephen will be an asset to the city council without question. He's a caring individual, and I think that just fills in the council, you know?
Yep.
We'll get to the business at hand and debate that and just move on, you know, basically, you know?
Of course, the big question of the night, and we keep talking about the challenges for the next couple of years, you know, with the casino vote. So,
Yeah.
your thoughts on
Right.
that?
Well, needless to say, Revere prevailed in its vote, okay? East Boston, it was close, but they ended up in defeat.
12%, yeah.
Yeah, sure, in defeat. I'm not sure that you could have a win looking at the results.
Yep.
Because from what I understand, it had to be both communities, okay? And I believe it was specified both communities had to approve it. Boston did not, Revere did. So I don't know if we could actually ask the Racing Commission if we could put it all in the Revere side, because that's not what the issue was, that's not what was permitted, et cetera.
Well, I guess the mayor's off meeting with Suffolk Downs, trying to put together a Grady-esque touchdown play.
It'll have to be a touchdown play to make it work, you know?
We'll see what happens, but
Yeah.
he's not giving up on it yet.
No, no, absolutely. I don't expect him to give up. I
Yeah.
think he has to do what he has to do.
Yep.
But before we go on, I'd like to thank the citizens out there who have supported me once again. This is, I forget which number it is, but...
we might be able to help you with that.
Oh, you
I
may.
might be able to help you with that.
Let's see,
Yes,
12
I had
years?
12 years on the council and mayor for 4 terms, so 12 years, I think you...
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, it's a
And,
long
you know,
time.
it's the people in Revere who had the faith in me. I'm not a rabble-rouser up here. I speak the issues, and beyond that, it's up in the hands of the citizens.
Yeah, no, you've always been a class act, Bob.
Absolutely.
I remember back to the days when we started up the Historic Society and how much you
Oh, yeah.
pitched in to make that come to fruition.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
it's always
Well, I'm
thankful
here
for the work you
I'm
did,
here for the
for the
citizens,
city.
without question. You know, I'm here for the citizens, you know, to take their request, and hopefully, if I think they're adequate, I'll push it, okay? If not, you know, you can't win everything.
Yeah.
You know, you just have to move forward.
Okay, do
And
your
that's what I
best.
think the city is doing right now.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations,
Thanks for
congratulations.
stopping by.
Thank you,
All right.
thank you. Thank you.
Oh, we have an audience. Okay, it looks like we have the new city council
The new city
woman.
councilwoman, Susan
Susan
Gravellisi. What did I say? New city council, forgive me, school committee.
School committee. Congratulations, Susan. I'm sick.
Look at that, I get so caught up in the moment, I forgot what you ran for. Well, Susan, I mean, in your wildest dreams.
In my wildest dreams, well, first I would like to thank all the voters. I want to thank you for your trust in me and your support. In my wildest dreams, did I predict that I would come in second? No. Did I predict I would come in sixth? Yes. We worked very hard. We have a really strong base in Revere. As you know, my whole family lives in Revere. We've been rooted in Revere for how many decades? Let's see, fourth generation of my family is now in Revere Public Schools, so many, many years, over 4 decades we've been here. And, you know, I had faith that with my family and my friends that I would be elected. Second place, that's very overwhelming.
You've got to be on top of the world right now.
I am,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. But I look forward to working with the current school committee members, and I look forward to working for the city of Revere.
What do you want to see changed?
There's a lot going on in the schools. I think the Revere Public School System's phenomenal. It's always moving forward. It's always looking forward and, you know, working to increase the knowledge for the children and bring them into the 21st century learning skills. To change, I mean, there's a lot of things people are unhappy with. If that's what you mean, a lot of people are unhappy with the lottery. We all know that. Would I like to see that change? Yes. I'm not a fan of the lottery. Is there a way to change it? That I'm not sure of until I meet with my coworkers and find out what's been done so far to try to change it or make it a little easier for the parents. I mean, but that is the first issue in my mind. But again, how to change it, that's something I have to work with my new coworkers.
Great, great.
Well, you're going to have a number of challenges. We were talking to Mike Ferranti earlier, and so it's going to be quite a bit of work, but you got a good group of people to do it with.
I have a great group
Once
of
again,
people to do it.
Congratulations, Susan.
Thank you to my committee that's all here. You can hear them.
Okay, what do we have next? We have Tony Zambuto
All
coming
right,
up.
Tony? Welcome and congratulations once
Congratulations,
again.
Tony.
Thank you so much. Oh, boy.
What a night.
What a night is right. I am so grateful. It's proof that if you tell the truth up here and never tell people what they want to hear, people appreciate that. They know that I'll never lie to them. They may not like what I say. Some of my good friends come up here sometimes and they're not thrilled with what I have to say, like when we have issues of billboards and so forth. And I love those people because they do so much for the city. But I never lie to anybody. I do what's best for the city. But before I go on, let me just thank a few people. My dear friend and campaign manager, Diane Santoro, of which I would not be here without her. She does everything for me. She's a wonderful person and a great campaign manager. My sister Joanne, who I would have never first been elected many years ago if it wasn't for her, and she was with us tonight. My brother-in-law and my brother Joe is up here every election day helping us out. My co-campaign manager Peter Felt, and a wonderful committee, and that's too many to name, but the bottom line is there's one guy I have to single out. Most of you probably saw him over at Immaculate in his motorized wheelchair, Bobby Long, who stands out there all day with a sign for me because he cares.
Yep.
And,
That was amazing.
I'll be honest, I would never ask him to do that, but he insists on doing it.
Yep.
A few things I want to say, especially the citizens of Revere. I am so grateful you've put me back. This will be my 8th term, I believe. Would have been a 9th, but I lost the recount. And congratulations to Stephen Morabito, who lost the recount 2 years ago and got elected this year.
Right.
And it just goes to show you that, I have a slogan that I use a lot, and it's good things come to those who believe, better things come to those who are patient, and the best things come to those who never give up.
Wonderful.
And,
That's a great...
Again, there's a couple of things I want to say. One is I get elected by the citizens of Revere. I don't have one family vote in this city. A lot of my colleagues start with 500, 1,000 family votes. I don't have a family vote in this city. So I'm so grateful to the citizens who elect me because I have to earn every vote, and I'm just overwhelmed by the support. I ran on term limits many years ago, and I got up here and found out that I made a difference. And the people put me back here all the time because they know I make a difference. And I'm just, I'm overwhelmed. There's one other thing I want to say. This year we had a sign war. I'm very disappointed. I participated in it because I had to show that I was running for office, that I wanted to be reelected. But I felt dirty, and I want to call out to my colleagues, I beg you, let's go back to a gentleman's agreement, and let's not mess up the city the way we did this time.
You've got to vote in Arthur Ganasso, because he talked about that earlier tonight.
Oh, I didn't know that. And
Yeah, he did.
Well,
Yeah.
that's great, because we'll be allies on this, and we'll
Yeah.
we'll put forward, because I don't want to be like Lynn, and I don't want to be like the other cities. So let's go back to that gentleman's agreement, and let's bring some civility back to politics.
Okay.
And, I thank you again.
Okay.
And God bless.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations,
Okay, let's see. Oh, well, we have
Donna Wood
Donna
Pruitt.
Wood Pruitt. Another pink. Congratulations, Donna.
This is for breast cancer, you know, I'm very involved in
Yeah, I
that.
know you are.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How you feeling tonight?
Well, I'm excited. I didn't care where I came in, as long as I came in. You know, my son and my daughter was calling people or sending out texts, whatever, to their friends. It was just, I was freezing today. And I want to thank my husband, who sat for 6.5 hours today at Hall's Corner, bundled up and didn't move, and was out every morning at 6 a.m. holding signs.
And that's what they're supposed to do.
But you know what this shows? That the public still wants people with experience in, because 5 of us stayed in, and it's still, you know, they still want people with experience, and there's 4 women. This is we're breaking history right now with the 4 women, which I think is absolutely wonderful.
I'm going to leave now.
Women power, that's what it is. You know, Jessica topped the ticket, I mean, you know, and another woman.
Yeah, I think it's
So
awesome.
I'm just, you know, not just that, I want to thank everyone that went out to vote, all my old friends from PTA from the 80s and the early 90s, and the friends of my daughter and friends of my sons that are still in the city. I thank you, and new people that came out to vote and said, oh, I'm going to give her one of the votes. As I said to some people, I'm the only Nana. So next time I'll be the school committee Nana. No.
That's fine, that's fine. As long as you vote, what Carol was just saying, as long as you vote for what's best for the kids of the city, that's what we need.
all I care about. My
That's what
granddaughter
we
will be
need.
starting school when the New Hill School opens.
There you go.
And that's important for me, to make sure that the schools are good, because, you know, you care about your kids, but when it's your grandchildren,
You
it's
care
something
more?
all different. No, I mean, yes, you do, you really do. You know, you really
Yeah,
do.
you're right,
Because you can
right.
give them back. You can have them all the time and love them, but, you know, but it's, you know, you care just as much because they are your grandchildren,
Yep.
and you want the best for them, you know, like you want it for your sons and daughters, so I'm just thrilled. And thank you for having me on here, and
Congratulations,
thank you.
Joan. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks, Deb.
Congratulations, Donna.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, and we have Brian Arrigo.
Oh, we have Brian. Good,
City
we were
Council.
waiting for you, Brian.
Brian, congratulations once again.
Congratulations, Brian. Mwah. So, Brian, you sneaked in there.
I snuck in. A win is a win.
A win is a win, and
Right? A win is a win.
congratulations.
No matter
We're
who's
very happy.
against you, right?
That's right, you're there. So,
Well,
Brian,
Go ahead.
no, you go, because
Well,
I know you
was
have a
just gonna
question.
say, I guess the question is that, you know, I think you were up in the upper level and you just barely made it, not barely, but you were down the bottom of the vote getters this time. Do you attribute that at all to your position on the casino? Because I know you were one of the few people that weren't totally in support of it. You ended up writing a letter to the editor, I think, of the Journal last week, basically coming out against it for your reasons.
Well,
Do you think there was any
Yeah, and I wouldn't say
blowback, if you will, from that?
I wouldn't
or-
say that I really came out against it. I just had some concerns.
All right.
and, you know, we've talked about them, and I think they're concerns that anybody would have with the development that's being proposed and the casino coming in town. And I think the vote tonight in East Boston really proves that there are going to be concerns, and unless we properly vet them, unless we get the right information, and unless people are aware of all the impacts,
Yep.
you know, we need to go forward and be intelligent in what we do, and we need to be able to make informed decisions with information that backs up the positions that are being made. So I did take a little bit of a risk, I think, and I think that at the end of the day, I think I mentioned it in my letter to the editor, is that leadership is not a position, and I think this kind of proves that, you know,
Right on.
and that sometimes you have to make, I think, as an elected official, there are sometimes difficult choices have to come up. I think everybody needs to be able to respect one's opinion, and if there are concerns that come up, you know, I think I have the right to my concerns and to voice my concerns and to get answers to my concerns. And you know, I think this was a referendum on the fact that people did have concerns, and at the end of the day, no matter who wants to work against me, there will be, you know, a voice of reason on the council. So
Well,
I'm excited.
It seems that 4,322 people had a concern,
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
matter of fact.
At least a
For
little.
you weren't alone.
Yeah, no, there was a concern, obviously. And, you know, there are two things happening here. The mayor is on his way to Suffolk Downs to speak to them and see if, you know, and maybe this is a good thing, that maybe it can be rewritten and
Right.
something can be done in a more positive light.
Right.
That's number one. And the other point is, what if there is no casino? Brian, here is the next question.
Right, and this is something that I've brought up numerous times, and we've talked about Plan B, you know, what is Plan B? And my biggest question has been, what if East Boston doesn't vote for it? What if the Gaming Commission decides that we're not a suitable, you know, Suffolk Downs isn't a suitable venue? What are we going to do? What do we do next? And there hasn't been a lot of answers about that. Now you know, I've heard earlier tonight that there's going to be some potential rejiggering of the proposal, and there'll be some ideas thrown out. I just wouldn't want anything to be done in haste. I would want to make sure that we have a full process, a transparent process, and that the people get what they deserve and understand all the information that's laid out properly.
You thought it was interesting before, it's going to get really interesting now.
Oh yeah, no kidding. You know, and I think it's an interesting situation. It's kind of a once in a lifetime thing to go through. You know, to see this all happen, and to see the vote in East Boston and the vote here, and it's as a student, I'll always be a student. I find it interesting that to be able to learn from different situations, and this is a situation that I think is unlike anything in Massachusetts politics. So it's pretty interesting.
I think you're absolutely right, and I think if someone were to call us, they'd never be able to call us.
Yeah, oh no,
I mean,
absolutely not.
we came in here so excited to see what would happen, and I'm in shock, so, yeah.
Well,
I do want to take a minute to congratulate first Jessica Giannino for a fantastic win. I mean, that's a referendum on the young blood, I think, coming into the city, and to be able to hopefully get the chance to serve with Jessica and Stephen will be a lot of fun.
Remember last year we were celebrating the three of you coming
Yes,
onto the
exactly.
city
The three of
council.
you, right.
Short-lived because unfortunately, you know, Stephen lost, you know, by 3 votes with the
Yeah.
recount. But now the three of you are reunited,
We're
so to speak.
reunited, yeah,
There you
and it
go.
feels so good. You know? That was really corny, but
Well, it's getting late.
Yeah,
Those
it
who
is
didn't
getting
pick up
late,
the
you know.
reference.
I do want to take a minute just to thank a couple people too.
Sure.
I have to thank obviously the beautiful girlfriend who's in the audience, who's had to deal with all of this political nonsense for the last 2 years, and I have to thank all of my family and friends who are back home. watching this hopefully, and my nephews, Gianni and Dominic, and especially my dad. He's been going through a lot of stuff recently, and it's nice to win for him.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
well,
nice.
congratulations,
That's nice,
Brian. You know, and we've had a lot of discussions, and I really do enjoy
Oh, I look
discussing
forward-
the
I look
issues with
forward
you
to
and,
them, yeah.
you know, going forward. So
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're still there. So
Yeah, great. Thank you.
congratulations once
Thank
again.
you.
Enjoy.
Congratulations, Brian.
Thank you.
Okay, I think I see Stacy
Stacy
Rizzo. Stacy, come on up.
We're going to wait a minute? Oh,
Well, we have some of the results here, and we'll get. there's-
okay, we got something coming up on the screen.
Okay, we've got the results on the screen, which are pretty much the results that we've got here as well, I believe. So let's talk to Stacy, and then we can get back to those results. Stacy, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations,
Thank you,
Stace. When I sit
Are the
down.
microphones going to work?
I was just going to say, both of us were going to say it. Now that Stacy's here, how's everything working? Wait, everything's working. Go ahead, speak it to the microphone.
Sometimes it's good
And
that
we
the
won't be
mics
putting
don't work when I
questions, while
talk.
we will put questions to you.
Yeah.
but-
No. Stacy, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm really happy. I have to go tomorrow to a conference for school committee members that I get to attend each year for 3 days, so I would have been driving down to the conference tomorrow a little upset if it went a different way, but it would have been my job and I would have done it and been glad, but I can go down there and be proud.
And you also have a majority of women on the school committee.
We certainly do. I think Dr. Dakin better be worried.
That is something different.
yeah.
I mean, you have a lot of challenges ahead of you. You have, you know, a high population of students. You have you know, you don't have as many schools as you need. We may not have a casino bringing in money, and you have some challenges ahead. What do you think?
We do. We have many challenges. I think what we need to do most, and what I'm hoping my colleagues would agree with me, is we need to promote ourselves as a school committee and what our jobs and responsibilities are. And then from there, we need to work with our city government to show them how important it is, what is going on in our schools, and why we need some more schools built. And yes, without the casino, that could be even a larger task. And but Dr. Dakin always gets us some money from the state, and hopefully he can work his little magic again for the next couple of years. But you know what? It's the well is drying up.
Yep.
So we're going to have to work with our city government. We have some young blood there that might see, you know, they want to raise families here, hopefully soon. No hint to Brian Arrigo, who just left, but he might want to raise a family. He has nephews that are in elementary school here, so they're going to
only
want
that-
what's best for the students also.
And we know we do have great schools.
And we have
great
great
teachers.
schools,
We have great
and
schools. We
It
have.
goes without a doubt. I'm in awe every time I get to visit a classroom. I'm just in awe.
And you're right. We should be promoting that more. We should be.
There is so much that goes on in our schools. You know, I'm just so tired of seeing negativity in, whether it be our local paper, the Boston papers. There's so much more going on in the city than just the police blotter. We have so much more.
We do, and
Yeah.
we're trying.
And we're
So-
trying,
Yeah,
and we're
yeah.
going to. We're going
Yeah.
to promote it, and like
Yeah.
you as a parent, you participate, and, you know, at one time, the Journal used to have a section of all the school happenings, and PTAs could post all the things going on in the school, and people knew what was going on, but maybe we can get that little piece back into the paper. it's positive stuff, so that's the good part. Hint, hint, Revere Journal.
And you can come on to Revere TV, and we could do a
And
monthly
that's
program
right,
on
Stacy.
Revere TV.
You
We
could come,
have Revere TV, I
Because-
forgot.
To
and
put in a
microphones
plug
at
for the-
work. You could come on and you could do a show.
put in a
And
plug for the
sometimes
Revere
I
Review.
think
Yeah, yeah.
people would pay you for the microphones not to work with me. So, but I'm looking forward to the next 2 years. I have to say, I'd be remiss if I didn't say I am going to miss Fred Sinella. It's not official, but I just know he brings so much to the table, and you know what, each person sitting there, we might not always agree, but we know we're all working for the best of the students, and Fred brings he knows state laws, he knows parliamentary order, he knows the schools inside and out. So, unfortunately, if he is not sitting next to me, I have no one to get in trouble with. I'm sure I can find someone, but no, I would prefer it to be Fred, but you know what, God bless what he has given to the city and the
Absolutely,
students. God
absolutely,
bless.
and we thank Fred for that.
And we never
Well,
know.
he's had a long career with the
certainly
city,
has.
and is a huge commitment
And
in
let's
terms of the
say
work that
this,
he's done.
2 more years, we might see Fred back, who knows, you
And
never
that
know.
would be great. You
So-
know, people talk about who has children in the system, who might be better on the school committee because they have children. And I look at people like Frederick Sinella and Carol Ty. They might have never had children in their own personal life, but by golly, they had at least 30 a day. For
Absolutely.
40 years.
Absolutely.
So, who could be better parents than those two?
Yeah.
Well said,
Yeah,
Stacy.
no, definitely. They have a lot to offer, and proud of it.
Well, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Once again, Stacy.
Yep.
You can go
Last
back
but
and
not least, you got the
celebrate.
best.
Go enjoy.
Yep, you enjoy.
Okay.
Well, I think we've just about talked to everybody that's been here and is going to be here at this point. So
Absolutely.
we
And-
can probably do a wrap-up here at this point
Okay.
with the numbers.
Okay, let's do the final numbers.
Are we going to see them coming up on here, or? Okay, so looking at the counselor at large, all the precincts reporting, we have Brian Arrigo with 4,265 votes, John Correggio, 3,713, Jessica Giannino at 5,453, Robert Haas, 4,550, Tony Zambuto, 4,504, Walter Colville, 1,312, Stephen Morabito, 4,325, George Rotundo at 3,958. There were 217 write-in votes. The city councilor at large for the next 2 years will be Jessica Giannino, Bob Haas, Tony Zambuto, Steve Morabito, and Brian Arrigo.
Yep, the ones with the stars
Yep.
is what you'll see. In the ward races, Ward 1, Richard Penta, 1,166 votes over Greg Lysedra, 611. Ward 2 ran unopposed, Ivan Novoselsky. Ward 3, Arthur Guanassa ran unopposed. Ward 4, Stephen Reardon ran unopposed. Ward 5, John Powers beat Al Terminello, 1,454 votes to 662. And Charles Patch, I think he's the other one we didn't see tonight. Ward 6 ran unopposed, 1,362.
And then the school committee, we had winners Michael Ferranti, 4,223 votes, Dan McGuire, 3,591, Donna Wood Pruitt, 3,556, Stacy Rizzo, 4,083, and Carol Ty, 5,078, and newcomer Susan Gravelisi, 4,242 votes. Those that did not make it, Fred Sinella at 3,242, Rick Frenny at 2,658, Juan Yaramillo at 1,678, and Patrick Keefe at 3,219. A pretty good showing, but not enough to get on there.
And the yes vote, which would allow Suffolk Downs to apply for a license to develop and operate a gaming establishment at Suffolk Downs. It was a yes vote out of Revere, 6,566 to a no vote of 4,232. I guess it was, and a no vote out of East Boston.
Yep.
4,281 to 3,353. So it was a split.
Yep. So the big question coming out of tonight is, where do we go from here with the casino? We will tell you all to stay tuned because
We
there's
have a
gonna be a
new
lot
school
more coming
committee
along.
member, and we have a new
That's
council
right. We
member.
have a new school committee member, a new council member, ward stay the same.
And we don't know if we have a casino or not.
Yeah.
So stay tuned.
For Revere TV, I'm Deveau.
And I'm Debbie Peczka.
Until we talk again, take care.